Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
Last night I was just a fan, and I think it was just really cool. It just felt like the ending that I really wanted for this.
I just need to know one question, and that's did you and Tom get a chance to
Kiss again?
No more number 12. That's going to be retired, and they're going to have this statue.
I'm definitely going to take a picture with it, or 70. I don't know.
So I'm going back to what you could possibly do for Belichick. So what about if you do this out on the practice field, but you break up the night into segments just like practices?
I think another good touch of that would be at random moments during that you have Aaron walk out and be like, "Cameras off, everybody! No taping this segment."
That's our time.
They've got a ways to go, no question. But if your quarterback you just took third overall threw a touchdown, and the receiver you took in the second round, I'll take it.
I love the optimism because honestly, I felt the opposite. I was like, can I
do it every other play of the practice.
Can I just capture Paul sitting over there telling me he has all 6 Super Bowl rings at home?
Actually, only 5. One I gotta watch.
I got to watch.
I gotta rock.
I can't thank you guys enough for what you do. It really helps to bring the Patriots closer to us fans in the UK.
Well, that's great. How did 1776 go, though?
Wow.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Tuesday here at Gillette Stadium and here in our temporary studio. As you can see, it looks a little different than where we usually are. Our normal studio is under construction. We're going to have a brand new look for the 2024 season, so we're going to be out of commission for a few weeks in our normal studio, so this is where we're going to be. This is our temporary home. Shout out to Dave Chase and Matt Morrell for making this happen on fairly short notice. This looks fine to me, right?
Fine
like,
to me.
well, it's not going to look. It looks fine.
It
It looks
looks
great.
The logo
yeah.
on the table.
We get the logo on the table.
We don't really do the hard work. We just sit around and look at each other and talk. And we're
now-
table, sit,
No, that's
talk.
not true.
Okay.
We had to come 15 minutes early to do a mic check.
Sorry,
I mean,
Paul.
come on.
The struggle is real.
For the
Yes.
talent.
I just want to check something though.
Yeah.
You didn't hear me, right?
No.
Good. So I just used my cough button.
Well, if you give me any guff today, Fred, I'm going to talk back to you.
You're
a
gonna
little
talk
bit. I'm going to
back?
give you a little talk back.
That's the sass
The
button.
back sass. Sass on.
Sass on.
How dare you?
It's Deuce. It's Alex. She's here because the Celtics
Green
won.
teamer number 1.
There's always some ulterior motive.
She always comes when it's celebration.
Yeah, when there's something to do with, as she thinks her, she'll be here. Evan, Paul, myself, and we're here for the next 2 hours, as we always are on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the off season, talking Patriots, and of course we will give the Celtics their flowers today. A great win. It's always good to have a champion in the city, and we have one again. It's the Celtics. Big win last night.
Dominant.
Yep. I was going to say, good big win for Boston last night. The Red Sox.
Another fun win.
Yeah.
Fun win for the Sox.
Another fun win.
It's a fun team. It's a fun team.
How many triples do they have?
I have to stop making fun of them. But they did beat 2 teams with winning records back to back.
All
First
right.
2 series of the year.
That's
I
not
have
good.
to. I have to sort of pull
Boys
back
are
a little
buzzing.
bit.
Way too much.
I need
Red
those
Sox.
tickets to keep falling. That's what
Yeah.
I need.
But
Oh, I don't think you have to worry about that.
but of course, all focus in Boston today is on the Celtics getting
Yeah.
the job done. They're a dominant team, and they dominated.
Getting ready for another parade, Freddie.
I don't know what else you can ask of them.
Yeah, that's
at
good.
this
But we can
point.
just move on then.
I was going to say, Deuce, I'll clear the floor for you.
We did it. I mean, we did it. I was going to do a whole bit and wear some Red Sox, read some Celtics stuff. I couldn't find it.
That would
though.
have been the funny
Not
bit.
surprising.
Is you
Couldn't
wearing
find
Red
it.
Sox
I know.
stuff
I
today.
couldn't find that old Larry Bird jersey I had. But yeah, no, it was good. I watched the first half and I'm like, all right, they're up 21. I don't need to stay up. But
I watched
these
the
guys
whole
are
thing.
excited.
I think it should have been co-MVP, by the way. Tatum and
Or they have 11 voters, so.
Oh,
so they couldn't have it.
But because Peter King didn't vote.
What if all
'Cause
11?
if Peter King voted, it would have been 5.5 to 5.5.
Yeah. What if all 11 agreed with me and they all said co-MVP?
I think you have to write one name.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have 11 obviously on purpose so that it's an odd number, so somebody has to win.
It's not Peter King proof.
I
It was
mean,
a
he
little
has split his
surprising.
vote.
You kind of didn't really. I mean, I didn't have a clue who was going to be MVP because I was leaning towards Holiday, but I don't think you can give it to Holiday.
No,
Oh,
it
I
was-
thought it
one
was
of
going to be
those
one
two.
of those two. I thought it would be Tatum, but I don't have any
I think
problem really.
I think Jalen was visibly shocked when he won it. Like
Me too.
It was like he
That's
won
'cause
the
he has that
Miss America
inferiority
pageant.
complex.
I mean, he had that like I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was almost
So
more
much so that he dropped 2 F-bombs.
Yeah.
What?
Watching on the broadcast, I had no clue what he was
The
saying.
first
'cause
one
it
I was
all
like,
bleeped out.
Yeah.
Did he just swear? And then the second one, I was like, he definitely just. And then he actually said, "Oh,
Right,
I
it's like, is
apologize."
it my stream?
Yeah.
No, he's just cussing up a storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, it wasn't my stream. I have
Your
cable.
cable.
But it was a great a great season, a great
It
win.
was dominant,
A great
like I said.
playoff run for them. What were they? 16-3
Yes.
through the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, this
Bunch of
is your thing,
gentlemen's
Fred,
80
right?
and
Like,
21.
this is how you like it, Fred. Like, you just want to win,
Yeah.
right? You
Right.
don't want any interesting
That was a Fred
games. You don't
Kirsch.
want,
Yeah.
You just give me the championship, right?
Anticlimactic Fred Kirsch special, right
I want
there.
my team to dominate.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And they did.
Yeah.
Alex, where did you get this hat? I love this hat. Like, this just seems like it just speaks like old school Celtics.
Yeah, so
Evan looks like he just like stopped by the swag
Walked out of
stand.
Dick's.
Evan looks like he was in the locker room last night.
His
but
dad-
he's
his
just
dad
missing
decked
the
him out.
Oakley goggles.
Just gonna.
This was an Etsy
Good
buy
tip
in
on that.
October. It was like $25
Oh,
back
good
in
call- good
October,
find.
and then I tried to get one for my friend for her birthday, which was yesterday. She was a Celtics cheerleader, so she had a cool day. But I went to get it, and it was like $65. They inflated the prices
Oh
for
my
the
God.
Well,
playoffs.
you can turn around and flip that one now.
Not that good
So
of
is
a
it,
friend.
is it corduroy?
It's corduroy,
Oh,
yeah,
corduroy.
for those
Corduroy
watching at
the
home.
best. It's like
Corduroy
old
hat.
school. It's
Pretty
like
cool,
mid
right?
'80s.
Was corduroy making a
corduroy
comeback?
hats?
I
If
think
you,
so.
if you had
yeah.
a little rope going across the
Yes,
front of it,
yes.
that would be. But
I know, but that makes it
that's
so
too
frat,
much.
bro.
I know, too much.
You
I
know?
think it's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah, I'm a
Good.
big fan of
But
it.
Evan looks
Thanks,
good
guys.
too. He bought 2 hats. He doesn't
I
want.
bought more than
He
2.
needs.
I spent a lot of money on it.
Got a
Evan
whole-
went
a
through
whole
the car
sleeve.
wash of the pro shop.
Yeah.
Did you get the Banner 18 tattoo too?
No,
Oh.
no, but I got more coming. Don't worry. We had to go to on Fanatics and order some more. But I feel like there's 2 different types of feelings after a championship. You either feel euphoria or relief. And for this one, I definitely felt relief. I was in the relief category last night because the Red Seas parted for them this year to win the title, and they were clearly the best team in the league. And if they didn't win a championship this year, then they were probably never going to win a championship with this group, with the Jays and with this core. So to see them finish it off, to see it's something different too when you drafted those 2 guys and they grew up in your system and
Yeah.
grew up as Celtics, and to see those 2 guys win it together was incredible. It was different.
I mean,
than
it
some
was a
other
perfect example of good drafting and good free agent maneuvering. I mean, bringing in Holiday was huge. Getting rid of Marcus Smart and Porzingis for what he added throughout the season.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously you guys remember I was a huge Marcus Smart girl, but yesterday when they started that game, the threes just weren't falling. And I was like, this is every Celtics finals I've ever seen where they just throw 3 after 3. They don't make them. And Drew Holiday, the whole first quarter until they turned it on towards the end of the quarter, had like the poise and the composure of someone who's been there before. And you saw him just driving the hoop, pounding the rim, and kept them in that game. I think he had like their first 6 plus points even, and him with that composure to just know to drive to the hoop and get the easy buckets and take what you can get really kept them in there that quarter, and then they just started to pop
They
towards
started
the
to
end.
pop. It wasn't the best played game from either side. I mean, when the Celtics went cold, so did Dallas. The difference was the Celtics started to heat up, and Dallas never did.
I thought that late stretch that Alex is talking about in the first quarter, they closed, I think, with a 9-0 run. I thought they were dominant from that point through the second quarter and then into the third, and then they kind of looked like they got tired.
Yeah.
But by that time,
Emotions.
the game was over.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But they did. Because I think at one point they were like 12 for 23 on threes. Like, so they caught fire.
And they
there
hadn't really
in
had
the middle
that
of the
game.
game.
They hadn't really had the 3-point barrage game.
Your girl Doris Burke made that comment during the game.
Yeah,
We've been waiting for this, and here it is.
In the playoffs, in the regular season, they've had some incredible. They'll make 25 threes in one game.
I think she said 18 different games they were over 40% as a team.
Yeah, and
What do you think, Mike?
No, that sounds
unstoppable.
that's pretty good. I mean,
Is that what you had it calculated
I would
as?
say approximately.
And I think the clear spark for the team was Pritchard.
Yeah.
And then the halftime.
when they were already up by
Oh, yeah.
18.
That was pretty cool. That was pretty
No,
cool.
that was a hell of a
He
shot.
took about 12 steps.
It's a hell of a shot.
And you knew it was coming too.
And you knew it was going in. Like, you could see it halfway there, and like, that's tracking. You can
Yeah.
see it.
But what a
so
great
funny.
moment.
The arc was so high that on the replay you lost the
Yeah, you
ball,
did.
and then it comes back down and back
And then
into
Tatum almost killed him. Did you see the chest
Yeah,
bump he
yeah.
gave him?
Yeah.
He ended up, because
You're
he's so much
right.
bigger than
Yeah.
Pritchard, he hit him in the face.
Inertia, baby.
In the face.
It's just like as the resident Celtics fan, but it felt just to me like they're not losing this game tonight. Like when you're hitting shots like that, like it's
the
all going
9-0
right
run in
tonight.
the first quarter, you know, my friends got mad at me. I was like, that's game.
Yeah.
You could see it. Like they clicked. This is the, you know, and that's it. They
And
weren't
it
going to
was
let
all
him
the
breathe.
role players too. Like it was Horford, it was Derek White, it was
Derek
Derek
White,
White,
so
by the
good.
way.
His face got
oh my God, quote of a lifetime. I would lose all like.
all my teeth.
The
for a
post game
championship.
was a little awkward because I think he was perked up a little. And,
Yeah.
So he was like in another.
talking a little like
I think he
this.
was in another world, and rightfully so. But just I would lose all my teeth for a championship. Just
Yeah. But he
chef's
really
kiss
got
quote.
his
stepped
face
on his head.
She loves these things.
I
I'm like,
do. The memes,
like,
I love it.
wah,
Oh my
wah.
God. Well, his face, like, did you see his face?
did.
Like,
Right.
how did he not break his nose? And not
Right.
just break his
Right.
nose, like
Yeah.
shatter it.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of us are
The
old
Derek
enough to
White-
remember
I
Larry
can't believe
Bird
he
getting
didn't-
smashed in the floor. Fred, do you remember that?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That
I
hat
sure do.
remembers it, I bet.
Probably.
Came back with a big welt on the side of his head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brian Morey texted me. Luca sleeps with the fishes. Is that
Luca
that's what
Brasi.
he texted me. You don't like that?
That's weak.
From The Godfather.
That's
The,
weak.
the reason why
Just
I,
stick to putting jackets on people.
Just stick to ruining a perfect moment.
I actually thought that Jason Tatum had a real case for MVP, but the way that Jalen played defense on Luka,
That's the thing.
94 feet.
So
Jason
can I just
couldn't
say-
play
can I just say
defense
this
on
one-
Luka.
Incredible.
Luka was Jason Tatum's kryptonite. He was blowing by.
I
him
have
all
I have
series.
a nitpick on that. I felt like every time Jaylen Brown got in his shirt, the possession either ended with Luka eventually getting fouled or giving a layup to somebody else because he was so overplaying the ball. It was like, I get it. You're way more athletic than him. He can't blow by you. And he couldn't. He could not get by him.
Yeah.
Okay. Now there's going to be like three other guys open. And he kept just throwing these little slip passes to these guys who otherwise couldn't score if they were alone, you know, in a Vegas brothel with a fistful of 50s. They couldn't score.
I just thought it set the tone for them defensively in the series.
You like that one?
Yeah.
Just came to me.
Yeah.
Joint practices.
And I would also say that Luka, I think he was 1 for 8 or 1 for 9 from 3 in the game.
Terrible.
And he was terrible on defense the entire series too.
Yeah.
And when Jalen said it in, he was mic'd up, and he said it in one of the mic'd up segments that Luka is going to have to bring up the ball to touch the ball. Otherwise, I'm going to deny the ball the whole in the half court. And so Luka had to work so hard just to get the ball over half court and into their side of the court that now go play defense. Now go make 30-footers. Now,
not
you know,
shaped
go.
for that.
Yeah, I didn't like
it wore him
the
out.
defense thing. I know that got a lot of attention. I didn't really feel like that was an issue, but the offense thing was an issue. Like, I thought making him bring the ball up was a really huge adjustment that they made because it didn't allow them to play fast the way they did sort of at the end of Game 3 and throughout Game 4.
Yeah.
It was more of Kyrie sort of pushing pace, and they didn't allow that to happen. And like you said, it bogged everything down. And
Yeah.
Luka got a whole bunch of plastic yards.
Yeah.
Like, he had to have like close to 20 in the fourth quarter when the game was over. You know, 15 anyway. Like, he hit a couple of threes. He went like 21 straight threes that he missed in that series.
You know,
Yeah.
speaking of
That's
Kyrie,
a lot too.
That's
So
wild.
21's a lot to miss.
I think.
Kyrie kind of came up small in that last game.
He was terrible in
Yeah.
all three Boston
Kyrie, I
games.
saw the tweet. Kyrie finally brought the championship he promised in Boston.
I feel like that in
You
itself.
love those little things, don't you?
I do. I was kind of a Kyrie
I'm sorry.
apologist for a
It's
little
okay.
bit, but
I don't mean to. I think the biggest thing with Kyrie is that you don't often say that the crowd is that much of a factor nowadays in sports. Tip your cap, Boston. Like, you got in and crawled inside that dude's head, and they lost all 3 games here, and he was a no-show in all 3 games. And if you're Kyrie, you have to admit that was because Boston was in your head.
Did you see what he did? You know, they were taking him out of the game, and instead of waiting to the end of the game to do his hugs, he went on their bench and
I
hugged
kinda-
everybody.
Yeah, that was so
I mean, I know there's a little performative nature to that.
A little.
I kind of liked it because you can't do it at the end of the game, and he knows that you can't.
I know, but why do
Because
you?
he's won championships.
Why do
he
you
knows
need
what
to do
happens.
that? I mean,
because he wanted to be class. That's why I would say it's performative because you have to make sure that everybody sees you being classy. I
Right.
get that.
Are you
But
saying Kyrie went to the Celtics bench and
Yeah.
gave them
Yeah.
all a
I thought it was
dapped
a
them
little
up?
performance.
It was definitely a little performative,
He
but
did
he also
play with all those
played
guys,
with
and I
most of
think
those
he has a
guys.
lot of love for them.
I'm with Alex.
Maybe.
I don't know
Okay.
about that.
Like-
but he
Ta-
definitely
Tatum
did
and
play with all those
Brown.
guys.
Kyrie has never spoken
Maybe aside
poorly
Tatum and Brown still love
about
him.
those teammates. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Especially Tatum.
Maybe aside from not
they've
liking
never-
Jews, he's not a bad guy. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm not going there.
Has he walked that
I'm with you,
back
Fred,
yet?
on that.
He
But
still hasn't really apologized.
no, but I did feel like
Jaylen Brown feels the same way. So.
he could not score. He was not Kyrie in Boston, and that's a 6 or 7 game series if he plays like he did in Dallas for the entire series. And he just didn't have it here. He couldn't shoot here.
All
And-
3
and-
games,
and
he
it
was
was in his
terrible.
head. With the game I was at, game 2, he's like egging on the crowd, like telling him. I'm like, what are you like? You're trying to embrace it. I get it, but it just made it worse. Like it
So
just
parade, will you be going?
100%.
Can
Are
I get
you
a half
going?
day? Can I get a half day, boss?
Yeah. Well, I'm
I
not,
actually-
I'm not going. It's a work day.
Is it Friday?
I asked
Yes.
Richie
I
to.
thought you
I
already said
asked-
you were taking the day
I
off.
asked Richie to
When is
gauge
it?
interest from the players, see if any of the players are going, so that
Oh, yeah.
Sarah,
it's gonna make a
Sailor
work
and I
day.
would then be
we'll cover
justified.
it. We'll go to
Right.
cover
It's
it.
about finessing.
That's well done
Gotta
right there.
finesse.
So Fred, I don't know. I think there's a lifestyle angle to be had here. That's well done. I'm impressed by that.
What day is it? supposed
Just
to
like
be?
the U.S.
Friday.
Open last year. Who
Friday?
wants to go watch
Oh,
some
yeah.
golf?
Anybody want to go to the Open?
Friday?
Friday at 11.
Friday. Yeah.
Goes from obviously from the Garden to Heinz Convention Center,
Yeah.
past the Boston Common. Tremont.
I'll be in Fred's territory. I'll be,
But
Tell you, I can't imagine
yeah.
what would be better to be at. It'd be 98 degrees in the middle of the city.
unfortunately, they don't do what they used to do, which is, down Boylston Street, you end up at City Hall, and then you have the big reception in the plaza. They don't do that
Why'd they
anymore for
change
some
it?
reason. I
We
don't know.
we ruined it.
Yeah, I
Who's
don't know
we?
why.
18 wasn't
Just
that crazy.
Too many people, I guess. Or,
It just gets too rowdy.
yeah.
It must be crazy the difference between the Patriots, who have 53 players just to start, versus like
Yeah.
this, which is what,
Right.
You only
11.
need
Like,
Just like
four
one
duck
boat.
boats.
yeah, like just
What's
one
that?
like
Yeah.
11 guys. Is that what,
Each
what
guy
do you,
gets their
How
own
many guys
boat.
play
15.
basketball?
Yeah.
15.
15.
Well, that's great stuff. So congratulations.
6 of them even played.
Oh,
Congratulations, Celtics. For Patriots, it's obviously a quiet time.
yeah.
We're still basking in the glow of last Wednesday, the Brady night. Just incredible response from people. And we were talking as a group this morning, and I thought that the Patriots did I don't know if it was intentional, but by not really saying what was going to happen that night, I think it kept expectations kind of low. And then when people either came and saw it live or watched on the stream, it was beyond their expectations.
Yeah.
So it was that surprise and delight type of reaction, because no one knew what was going to happen. And, so the response I saw, everybody was like, wow, this is a lot better than I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be. And
It was a
Did
rare.
did you guys hear a lot of people saying that like they thought Tom Brady was going to come out of the smoke on stage and that we were just playing Jay-Z over the loudspeaker, and then it was Jay-Z himself? Like people were blown away.
my
I had a
God.
couple
It's
people
pretty
there that
smoky.
I
It's hard to
didn't.
say.
I didn't hear that, but I will say that it was one of the rare events where usually you find at least a few people that
Yeah.
have differing opinions, and I had a lot of people. I even had a couple of people call me to ask me, what I thought and stuff like that. But I had nobody that had anything really bad to say. Not
Yeah.
like
Paul, this is
like,
Lester Holt from NBC. What did you think of the
Well,
Brady?
I mean, I was talking about like season
I'm
ticket
over
holders
that.
and people like that.
Well, I mean,
So obviously it's catering to them, because if you're not, if you're a season ticket holder and you didn't really like anything that happened last
Yeah.
Wednesday night,
yeah.
I
you're
think
probably
people
rooting for the
people
wrong
were
team.
waiting in the bushes to criticize this event, and there was nothing to criticize.
was at
if,
first.
If you were a Bill Bobo,
Yeah.
then you couldn't criticize it. He had one of the best moments of the whole thing. If you didn't like Brady, you had to respect at least how that went and his speech. And I think there was something for everyone. And then of course the Moss moment kind of stole the show for me.
Yeah. I talked to 2 different people over the last few days of people who didn't get tickets, and and almost one of them was like, I didn't really hear much about it, and then
Right.
now they're kind of
Yeah,
like,
but,
I'm
like,
pissed I
it's
missed
Tom
it. I know.
effing like I was getting so annoyed, and I had to just not answer people on Twitter because I try not to do that. But people saying like, why are you guys having it on a weekday? No one's gonna go. The Celtics are playing. Like, no one's gonna go. It's Tom effing Brady.
Well,
Give
it
me
was a
break.
missed. Like the Celtics thing hurt,
Yeah,
That
but when
hurt.
we
There's
planned this
no
in
question.
February, I don't
If it
think
was
we
brought
could
to
anticipate the
people's attention
NBA
in
Finals
February.
schedule.
Yeah,
you know?
that
Yeah.
it would have been nice to, but 6-12, you had to do it, and like you said, it was planned a long time ago.
And also, it was a cool element to have it just
Yeah.
end and people go out
Yeah.
and the Celtics are on, and
Yeah.
that was the competitive part of the game, anyways. Other
Right.
than that, it was.
So it was, I heard some people say, "Oh, I wish it was on TV." I get that.
Yeah, we
you
got
know.
a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you want to watch it, it'll be up forever on YouTube.
And Fred, can you do us all a favor, because I think we've all been kind of dealing with those kinds of questions, and just explain why it wasn't on TV, like
Well-
that we couldn't.
Well, there were a couple factors. One, originally it was going to be on Peacock, but streaming, which I guess technically is TV, even though it's just another streaming service. It just got too complicated with all the rights fees from the music and everything like that. But I got to be honest, part of it was Brady's camp. They didn't want any monetization of the event, so if you put it on TV, whoever's station, they're giving up 3 hours. They're going to want commercials, and so that was the whole thing. And yes, probably it could have been worked through, but it was like, you know what? We got enough to worry about. Let's just get this thing on Patriots.com and YouTube and Patriots Social, and in the live audience, and just focus on that and not worry about all that other stuff, because there was enough to work. We had to get rights from Jay-Z and Kenny Chesney and Bill Burr and even
Fred Kirsch.
and U2 with Beautiful Day, and it's a lot. And this organization honestly has never done that before. Like we took on all of that. It wasn't like NBC came in and produced it, or the NFL like on a game day. So there was a lot to do, and we just wanted to make sure that what we were doing, we hit a home run with. And yeah, it could have been on TV, but it would have been. We'd still be working through rights and all that stuff.
It's got to be the longest continuous stream that you guys have ever done here. I mean, it must have started at 5:30 till 10:30.
Yeah.
I mean, right? Like
Yeah.
it's.
The Not Done Network was probably
Yeah.
longer,
I
but
didn't want to bring it up. You guys always get PTSD every
Well,
time
that
you hear
that wasn't.
I'm just teasing.
Well, that
It wasn't
actually.
the same thing, but it was kind of.
Yeah.
I think that I have to check with our webmaster Chris Ferrer. I think that might have been one continuous stream.
Well,
during
certainly
the
the
day.
live portions
Yeah.
were all continuously
I think it
streamed.
was.
Now, I know we replayed stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Oh.
we,
Oh.
let a little peek behind the curtain.
Sounds like
we
you were
didn't
done a
actually
little bit in
be
there.
on the air for 24 hours.
No, but like if
So
you were,
was it?
if you
so
started,
it wasn't really. We were done at some point.
we're
From like
talking
9
about
p.m. to 6
the
a.m.
year
Oh,
that we
I'm
lost
done.
to Philly. We were in Minnesota, and we did the Not Done Network. It was the first 24-hour network, during the week leading up to the Super Bowl. And I think if you were on the stream, I don't think you ever had to hop off. I don't think it ever.
No, my mom said
Stop.
she watched the whole time. She couldn't believe it. She said she stayed for the whole thing, pregame show right through the whole thing. So
Yeah. So that was I don't know. We should ask Guinness if we broke a record there.
the world's
Yeah.
longest
The
live
world's
stream.
longest
Yeah.
live
The only
stream.
part that was bad about that was losing that stupid game. Brady having over 500
Eagles.
yards and not winning that game was just
Oh,
an
So we're
embarrassment.
talking Celtics title, Brady night, and
Super
Fred's
Bowl
like
52.
lamenting the
Yeah.
loss of Super Bowl 52.
we brought up the Not Done Network, so I had to.
That's one game I couldn't really tell you much about. I think I kind of saw that one and forgot it.
Just
you know.
big
Blacked it
play
out.
after big play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both
Suppress
sides.
the traumatic
Yeah.
I'll
memory.
just
The
never
Philly
forget how
special.
wide open
yeah.
people were.
Remember the Philly special, but it was just back and forth.
Like
and
James White running like
Just one
25
stop.
yards.
But there
All
was
you- all you
almost
needed
there
was
was one
one
third
stop.
down, and Jackson Batamosi couldn't cover like
Yeah.
the little guy like
Johnson.
leaked out right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
a little
I remember
respect.
now.
He was
Enough.
only in the game because of
Lane
Malcolm
Johnson?
Butler. Yeah, I feel
Wayne.
like with the Brady thing, and then I was actually unfortunately at the Celtics watch party for Game 4, which was a bummer. But those are like the real fans. It's unfortunately sometimes for these finals games or these big Super Bowls or whatever, all the real diehard fans get priced out, and you don't get those people in the
Finance,
building.
biotech bros.
Right, and it can be a little wine and cheesy, those crowds and things like that. But the Brady thing, that was 60,000 people that were diehard Patriots fans, diehard Brady fans that wanted to be there, and that element of it I thought was really cool. And I almost feel like it's a good thing that some of the things that we did for him weren't on the live stream, because then you got to you had to be there, you know, and that's something that we'll talk about. Jay-Z public service announcement and these other things. Well, you know, those people bought a ticket, they came out, they went to the event, and nowadays everything is on social media and on streaming and all this stuff, where being there in person isn't what it used to be anymore. It's not as important to be there. So I thought it was really cool that to see that, and especially with how the team has played lately too, that to have a moment to go back to the sun.
But I think this stuff is good for those guys to see. It was really great to see how many of our current players, who maybe 5 of them have played with Tom Brady, but they showed up. And I got to talk to Dietrich Wise and Josh Uche off the top of my head, talking about how motivating it was to be there and see everything that Tom created kind of for this franchise, and like the house that Tom built. So them just seeing that and understanding the gravity of that moment and the power that an athlete can have in this city was really great, because it's motivating. And it reminds me of like Paul Pierce's retirement ceremony a couple years ago, when all the Celtics players were like, this is motivating, this is inspiring, being there, watching it, and they just raised a banner. So, you know, that's how you get these new generations of players to buy into the sports culture here. So, I mean, having Tom Brady last week and then the Celtics this week, and guys being at the game and seeing just the town rally for the teams is just
and I think
great
Gerard,
vibes.
I don't know if he made it mandatory, but I think he strongly encouraged the team to be at the event. And I think, like you said, it's good for them to see that.
And like, hats off to a guy. I'll call out Uche and Bentley by name, because a lot of guys, like, there was an open bar. It was a great time if you're a guest at this event to have some fun and catch up with people. But Uche and his dad, and I saw Bentley too, like, they didn't take their eyes off the event. They were invested. I think you could have waved your hand in front of Joshua Uche, and I don't think he would have taken his eyes off Brady and just everything that was happening. The guys were taking it in. It was cool to see.
Yeah.
One more thing to highlight too. Alex wrote about it. Bill Burr had great story.
Yeah.
I mean, the first 20 minutes of his podcast was just talking about the whole experience. You know, what it was like when they sprung Jay-Z on him. Like, he didn't really even realize it. He thought he was opening it.
Bill didn't even know it was going to be at Gillette. To that point, you were talking about people being surprised by what we put on. Bill Burr was like, so what's up? Do you guys have like a little theater in your Hall of Fame where I'm going to perform? And then I don't know who he was dealing with, but they said, no, it's at Gillette Stadium. He's like, okay, do you have like a little space? Like, how many people are going to be there? It's sold out, like 55,000 people. And he's like, oh my God, why did I agree to this? He got all the the nerves set in.
But he's played stadiums, but he's played big arenas.
But I think just I think he was intimidated.
Yeah, no, I at first, like, that's another person that we had to deal with, and he was like, I don't know if I want to have this streaming out after it. What if I bomb? Yeah. And, we were like, you're not going to bomb.
He talked about how worried he was about
very
bombing.
concerned with bombing. And it's nice to hear he thought it went great, because it did.
Well, I thought his bit with the photos was really funny.
It was really funny.
The Josh Allen thing.
Yeah.
That's to me, it saved him. Like, that Josh Allen line,
thing?
I was like, and I like Josh Allen, but that was awesome.
And then the Guy Fieri
awesome
thing, that's
shot.
like, this is who women want to marry, who they end up marrying.
Right,
that was hilarious.
That was good too.
That was good stuff.
Yeah, that was his second sort of run, right?
Yeah.
That was much better than I thought. But because you telling me all that background that I didn't know, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because he did not appear comfortable at all.
Yeah.
And he probably wasn't knowing.
But he's such a fan, and it's like he talks about in the podcast too how he didn't want to roast Brady at all. Like, it was he has so much respect for him that it was just this hilarious up and down journey of his life as a Patriots fan until Tom Brady, Robert Kraft, and Bill Belichick came to save the day. And
he's a comedian, so like, there's nothing's off limits. But on this one, there was, like, you're not roasting him. We're asking you not to swear a lot, because there's a lot of so like, he couldn't really be himself.
But I don't know if he would have wanted to, because I think he's that much of a diehard Patriots fan that he just wanted to use that 5 minutes or whatever he had to just gush. And that's what the night was, just the best gush fest ever.
I just found myself wanting to get him on here, because
he's
right? like with the 80s and the 90s Patriots, like that molded him, that formed him. Like, that's what Bill Burr is. He can have those old school funny conversations about the old stadium and stuff.
You should look into that.
Good stuff. Well, it's webradio@patriots.com is the email address. 508. What am I talking about? 855. What's the number here?
855 Pats 500.
855 Pats 500.
Fred's about to give his personal cell phone number out to
Did you
the
guys
masses.
ask if Pizza Time delivers to the new studio, or is
Oh, I
that?
didn't.
We're gonna find
You
out.
might
Yeah,
get lost.
We're gonna find out probably in about 20 minutes.
We
You're
got to
have to
figure
give
that
them
out.
directions. It's going to be tough.
Like, I just want to see like a Pizza Time just walk right in. Like, is this what?
Yeah.
Go by the Christian
make him a
Gonzalez
character.
photo, then take a left.
Just goes on
Pizza
camera
player.
and waves.
Hi.
Let's hit up the Ace Ticket hotline. We'll go up. I just dropped it. Theo in Southborough.
You
Call
can
back.
say his name, but you just hung up on him, so it's not really gonna help.
Goodbye.
No, call back.
Sorry, Theo.
Chris Ferrer chimes in. Not Done Network was a continuous stream throughout the week.
All right.
Wow.
See?
So I wonder if that's some sort of record.
Yeah.
You know.
Check with Guinness.
Reach out to Guinness.
And Fred and I were on 98% of that.
It was a long week. L from Wisconsin. Evans should buy one piece of merch for each playoff opponent missing their best player.
Oh.
Wow.
Something tells me that in like a month,
Yeah.
people won't be talking about that anymore.
Why don't you go back? Do we remember how any of the other teams' runs of who was missing and who wasn't missing? And
Paul
come
probably
on.
does.
Well, that's fine. So maybe that's, obviously it is true, but and you dominated them. You
Right.
did what you should have done against a team that didn't have their best player. You beat them by
Correct.
20 points most nights.
Correct.
We
You
don't
know?
have to talk about how the Nuggets beat 3 play-in teams to win the championship
Yeah.
last year. It's just the Celtics. had the
All
easy road.
snark aside, though, the
a lot of
Celtics were
people
by
talking
far
about
the
that.
best team this year, but damn, did the basketball gods work for them.
And that's why I said at the top that last night was relief for me because it did break their way.
But it's
and
like,
if this
It
wasn't
was
the year,
relief for Tatum, too.
yeah,
You could see it.
yeah.
but
if
like the
this wasn't
Celtics
year,
put
then-
themselves in that position to capitalize on that lucky break.
Right.
You know what I mean? If they don't put themselves in that position all year, if they're not playing at the caliber they were playing in all season, they're not there. So
It would have
I
been one thing
hate
if
that
they were
argument.
like the 6th seed and all these things happened.
Yeah.
But they
That
were the
was
best
Dallas.
team throughout the season.
by far,
Yeah.
Can you
not
just, but
contested.
you can separate the two, too, though.
But
Like,
we all-
I think they were the best team all season long. I
You don't
think,
have to think they were.
I
well,
think-
how
but
many
no, but-
experts still
but
thought
they
the
had the
Mavs
best
were going to
record.
win?
Do you know that's the first
How
time?
many experts still thought the Mavs were going to win? Experts, quote unquote.
I mean,
Not a
ESPN
lot.
I mean, the
I
favorite.
mean,
Five out of
it was
ESPN
overwhelming. I
what
mean, the
was
odds were
ESPN stat,
overwhelming
Evan?
on
Help
like
me out.
DraftKings for the Celtics.
ESPN was 9-8. Their experts were 9-8 Dallas. But I think the biggest thing, and look, I can understand that is true, right? They did have a lot of stars on the other side that were injured. I think the two biggest things that irk me about that conversation. First of all, Kristaps Porzingis was hurt for the entire run.
Mm-hmm.
So to sit here and act like the Celtics were at full strength the entire time is not true either. And that's their third best player. Like,
And
that's
like
not
only
just,
5 people in the country had the injury he had. Like that's kind of unlucky.
it's not.
That's kind of crazy
It's
too.
not just nobody
Wait,
though.
I mean,
that
the
got
second
hurt.
injury.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah, but the first injury.
A lot of people.
A
did.
lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Calf
that's
injury.
why Milwaukee got knocked out.
The other random one that no
'cause
one's
Giannis
ever
had the
heard
same
of or
thing.
could pronounce.
Yeah, but
And that's the thing is, I do think they were the best team. I do think they would have won it regardless. I really do. Like I just watched them most nights, and it seemed like they lost on the nights where they kind of didn't really show up. And I know that sounds really arrogant. That's the way we used to talk about the Patriots, and I hated that too. But I kind of think it's true. I think that they lost a handful of games because they weren't really mentally checked in. So I think they would have won no matter what. But to have, Milwaukee had the talent to play with them in a series. Philadelphia probably had the talent to play with them in a series. They were crippled. Like they weren't going to get there. And look at this.
Look at this.
That's
Pizza,
not
this.
easy.
Pizza
Right?
time guy. Say hello
And
to the cameras,
That's what Matt looks like.
And I will say, I don't think it mattered. I think they would have beaten Milwaukee, and I know they would have beaten Philadelphia because I think
they own Philadelphia.
Philadelphia
them.
is not ready to beat them.
I think
mentally.
Philly would have beat him.
I want to drink
Right.
them
Definitely.
to
The
tears
Celtics
this morning.
literally own Philadelphia.
So
They
I mean,
destroyed
to me, it did kind of stink to have not only a bunch of bad teams that you played, but a bunch of bad teams without all their good players. Like
Yeah.
that kind of stunk to me.
I did, but at the same time,
You make your own luck.
I do wonder, some of those series, like Donovan Mitchell goes out in the Cleveland series.
Right.
You knew you were gonna lose. Like
Yeah.
let's face it. Like
Yeah.
you knew it was over and you tapped out. All right, Tyrese Halliburton getting hurt.
See, I'm not
against-
going there.
I am. Tyrese Halliburton getting hurt after you're already down 2-0 in the series and then you're not showing up in Indiana. Like, all right, I actually thought
He got hurt in the early in game 2.
Yeah.
They lost game 1
Yeah.
when they
And-
completely
and he-
collapsed. Game 2 was going on and he got hurt. You think he just took the rest of the series off?
No, I think
and
that
just said
I think it
he
was
made a conscious decision in the middle of like the second
I think
quarter.
that a
I
lot
don't want
of
to play
guys.
anymore.
I think a lot of guys would have played through it. I think Luka played through it. I think Luka was banged up the entire time, and he played through.
I think that's
Porzingis
unfair.
Limped out there in Game 5 and played on it. So
I just think it's unfair. Like to say to a guy, he knew they were going to lose, so he quit.
That's how I feel. I feel like we're
like
sitting
did
here
Giannis quit because he knew they couldn't beat them?
I didn't
like
say
where
Giannis.
does the line draw? Like
I didn't say Giannis. Giannis had a serious injury, same injury that Porzingis had.
Yeah, but Halliburton has been dealing with that hamstring for the whole season.
Okay, and other guys have been dealing with stuff for the whole season too.
Right, and some of them can't play. Like Trey Turner for the Phillies just missed 38 games with the same thing. Like it's
okay.
It's hard. It's hard to play at that level.
Absolutely.
That's why I'm back with Alex. Like with Porzingis, I have unbelievable respect for that guy. First of all, to come in Game 1 and not only have missed all that time, 40 days or whatever, it was like 38 days, and dominate.
Yeah.
Dominate.
And I was apprehensive about him even playing because
I have so
I
much
just think
respect
it's
for that.
bad juju if you're rolling a guy hasn't played in a while to throw him in there. So I was so nervous, and then I ate my words.
It's one of the most dominant
so hard, though,
6 minutes I've ever seen a player
And the
have.
best part was the broadcast that during that game was like, oh, Porzingis looks so tired, and then he just went off.
He went off.
It was amazing.
Hey,
that
Patriots
performance
fans,
was amazing.
If you want to see Toyota's best offers, including those not seen on TV, go to buyatoyota.com. It's Toyota's official website for deals from the official vehicle of the New England Patriots. Toyota, let's go win an NBA championship. And when we do, you know it's easy to drink. It's easy to enjoy. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the New England Patriots. By the way, Chris Ferreira tells me that it was a continuous stream. Did I already say that?
Yeah.
And Ray writes in that the longest continuous streams are typically these webcam streams from people. So that doesn't count.
Oh,
what are we
God.
talking about now?
Jeez, guys.
I stand corrected.
Yeah, YouTube has been
We're
live
the best
streaming
PG-13 one,
SpaceX's
longest
development
PG-13.
of the Starship without stopping the stream since July 12, 2021.
Oh, man.
They're on the verge of hitting 3 straight years.
Longest audio-only podcast is 55 and a half hours.
55 and a half.
Oh, we can beat that.
Yeah, but ours wasn't audio only. Anyway, if you're producing new content, ours has the record. I'm saying it right now.
Put in the sports category.
All right.
Longest stream sports.
Paul's Foods here, so we'll be back right after this. Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
What's up, everybody? Maddie here. Let's take a listen to a snippet from Tom Brady's Patriots Hall of Fame speech.
Patriot Nation, it feels good to be home. This evening marks a monumental moment in my life. It's a celebration of 20 years here in New England, playing for the Patriots, playing for you. The greatest fans in the NFL. I'm overwhelmed with gratitude and a deep sense of honor. So let me say thank you for all that you've done to help me, to help us achieve our lifelong dreams. You guys are amazing. What other fans in the world would spend hours on Route 1 every Sunday to get to a stadium in the middle of the woods. We've even got 4 guys who went to jail for me sitting right here as RKK special guests. I miss this place, and I miss you. And I didn't even encourage you guys to get lubed up tonight, but you guys have shown out like you always do, and I love it. Tonight's a celebration of everyone who's ever cared about this organization. Everyone who has worked, cheered, sacrificed for it, past, present, and future. And I promise this isn't like the last time I was on stage with RKK and Coach Belichick and Jules and Gronk and Randy in LA a month ago. Those were the hardest hits I've ever taken in my life. But nobody here is taking any hits tonight. I have so much love and respect for you all. If you spent time in this organization, you are blessed. We're blessed because we learn so many things that most people never have the opportunity to learn. That nothing of significance in life is accomplished as an individual. Nobody individually hangs those 6 banners up there. The team does. Here in New England, it's always about we and us, not me or mine. Relationships are built on shared experiences, and the most meaningful thing in my life are my relationships. I truly wish I had more time. I wish I had more time to give you all. So how do I sum up 2 decades in New England in one short speech? The answer is simple. You can't. It's hard for me to properly express my gratitude and my appreciation for how my time here has added to my life. There are too many lessons learned, too many stories to be told, too many incredible moments and achievements we all experienced together. It would take me 30 days to get through it all, not 30 minutes. There are so many people to thank, and I apologize in advance if I leave anybody out. So with that being said, thank you to my mom and dad, my rock, my foundation. Your love and your commitment to your family is unmatched. To my sisters and me, you are everything. I'll never be able to thank you as much as you deserve. Sometimes it takes someone to believe in you when you don't believe in yourself. And along with so many other things, that's what you gave me. My sisters, Maureen, Julie, Nancy, people ask me where I get my mental toughness. I was the 4th best athlete in my own house growing up. I had no choice. My sisters would always stick up for me when the older boys in the neighborhood, Paul and Bobby, are sitting right down there. You did tell me, go long. Yeah, go, keep going, Tommy, keep going all the way down the street. Take a left. Yeah, go that way. And then they would say, game over, let's go home. And I would be standing down there like they finally included me. But you toughened me up in so many ways. And my sisters there stood up for me every single step of the way. I love you guys so much. To my kids, Jack, Benny, Vivi, your dad loves you more than anything in this world. Your smiles outshine the morning sun. And where I live now, that's a pretty brilliant sun. There's no greater joy than watching the three of you grow and teach me things on your way to becoming incredible young adults. To the communities in San Mateo and Ann Arbor, the countless teammates, neighbors, coaches, teachers that formed me into the man that I am today, thank you. You always believed in me. Don Yee, Steve Dubin, my agents, two men who took a hot-headed sixth-round pick out of college from Michigan and helped them navigate the whirlwind that would be the next 23 years. I'm sorry for taking all those team-friendly deals along the way, fellas. To my friends, Kevin, Brady, Pat Kratis, Michael Bronner, Ben Rowitz, and countless others, you guys have been through thick and thin with me, whether it was a difficult conversation or a wild flight home from the Derby. You've been there every step of the way. To Alex Guerrero, my brother from another mother, our commitment to each other's unmatched. Thank you for being who you are, a selfless, dedicated GOAT. And just so everyone here knows, without AG, this moneymaker right here, this thing would have lost its touch a long time ago. To RKK and the entire Kraft family, Myra, Jonathan, Danny, Josh David, and Dana. In the year 2000, I was drafted as an immature 23-year-old kid. And 20 years later, I left New England as a much older 42-year-old immature kid. But in that time, I was taken in by a family who loved me as a son and embraced my family as one of their own. RKK, look around. You fostered a culture of excellence and integrity that has impacted an entire region. I love you.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
oh no!
Replacements were shipped with FedEx, and with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next, for residential delivery only.
And now, great moments in history.
I believe they were not in pads, right? It was a lighter, no
day.
pads, which you always ask every Wednesday.
Yeah.
And finally, the
Right.
answer changed, and you weren't here.
So do you think they will not be in pads all week, or will they be in pads today?
I think they were in pads, but not like full pads yesterday.
Oh, okay.
I think it was light pads, but I have to double check on
That's
that.
even better, because now
you
we
were
have
there.
media beef.
I know.
We
I
have
know.
media beef.
But now
I like that.
now I'm doubting myself a little bit.
Yeah, well, we noticed too in the locker room, Mac had on one of the scuba hats, so it seemed like he's trying to get hot.
A lot of the
know.
players, that's true. I
Training
didn't
for
see, like,
Miami.
if you were here, you would have asked these questions, and we would have told the listeners
Right.
about these things.
Mike,
I feel attacked.
yeah.
I asked him what the mood was. What else was I supposed to do?
Oh, no, he did. He asked all the requisite questions. We were upset that you weren't here to hear the answers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew we would have gotten to this point.
Mike did a good job.
A lot of the players were wearing like sweatshirts or layers underneath their practice outfits because of the heat.
Their tops.
They want to
Be hot.
be hot because of Miami.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yep.
Huh.
That's it. That's your recap of yesterday's practice.
I wonder if that translates, because when you're in Miami, the heat comes from the sun.
Right, outside. not
Rather than
internal
coming
heat.
internally. That's a different type of hot,
Yeah.
I think.
It's still hot,
It's
though.
been sunny. It's been a
Where's the
nice
heat
week.
come from in other places?
That's another great moment from
All right, back here in Patriots Unfiltered, 855-PASS-500 is the Ace Ticket Hotline. Web radio at patriots.com is the email address. It's Deuce, it's Alex, it's Evan, Paul, myself, basking in the glory of the Celtics championship. So,
Running out of steam a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, too much
Up all
partying?
night?
Too much hat buying?
I did sleep a little bit, but by the time we got home, and then I needed to watch all the stuff that was being posted on social media and all the press conferences and stuff. So it's a late night.
Oh man.
I do. How many times do I ask you that?
Yeah.
Who consumes that? There's my answer.
Yeah. There you go.
All night.
There's
my eyes
answer.
were
I
burning.
watched the post game, a little bit. I thought the network struggled
Yes.
in that regard.
Yeah, the trophy presentation
Yeah.
left a little bit to be desired for
Yeah,
me.
which
Gets
that was
awkward.
unfortunate.
It was
but
awkward.
I watched some of that, and then some of the interviews. All the players. I kind of heard from each of the, the 6 main players, and then I was like, okay, I saw enough.
Yeah.
And these two were up on Twitter.
Well,
Can't get enough.
I'll tell you something a little embarrassing. I had on
More than that?
Yes, I promise it's worse. I had on like a clay face mask, doing your skincare at night.
Oh, okay.
It's a girl thing. But I started tearing up a little bit with the Deuce stuff. Like at the little moment
not
they
you,
had.
Deuce. Not
what
you.
I do.
Little Deuce Tatum. I don't know, just like, and then hearing people talk about like Tommy. I don't know. I'm emotional. It might be that time of month, but whatever. It's another story. So I start tearing up,
Did
and
you
then
go-
the clay from my face mask gets into my eyes, and I'm wiping it. But I don't go to the bathroom to wash it off because it's the trophy presentation.
Because then you would have missed it.
I would have missed it. So I'm just sitting there tearing up, and then the more I wipe
Oh,
it, the
no.
worse it gets. My eyes were burning all night. And
This
Go
is
ahead.
the dedication.
I know.
She wanted
Sacrifice.
she
That's a
wanted to
fan.
look her best.
You want
For
to win
the
a
trophy
championship.
presentation.
You got to make sacrifices.
Right.
but you got to
That's what
see
she
the
did.
memes too.
She
Yeah.
would have knocked out all of her teeth for a title.
Yeah,
I didn't want to
And the
mansplain
mask.
Look at her, show
basketball to this
happy.
kid, but
it was a late night.
I think Fred's had enough of us.
Yeah.
He's got that look on his. Yeah.
Well, he's in the captain's seat.
I'm checking out.
That was
no.
that's what was nice about celebrating championships on the West Coast because it's still early. You got a little extra time to go crazy.
I was pleasantly surprised that game seemed to move. Like it was over by 11. Like
It was over at halftime in my view.
Well, yeah.
Deuce,
The
it never
9-0 run.
started in
The
your
9-0
Never
run at the
started.
end of the first quarter.
Celtics play last night.
I
And,
saw that.
and Alex, I did see you tweeted about this too. But did you watch to the end of the game?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So they're up by like 911 points, and Dallas scored, and then I think Luka picked Jaylen Brown's pocket. Coach Hardo has to call a timeout
He called a challenge too.
with
and
like
won.
2:11 left, followed by the next possession where clearly the ball had gotten stripped and it
I
went
love
off
it.
of Luka's leg. He
Yeah, but-
calls another timeout
I love
to
it.
challenge,
Shoot
I
that
love
into
it.
my veins.
Absolutely.
just to, because no one's there to celebrate a title. No one
He's
can.
such a weirdo.
No
I
one wanted
love
to
it.
No one wanted to be ready to celebrate the banner 18. We wanted to watch Joe Mazzulla.
It was 18.
Work.
It was 18
Yeah.
with 3 minutes to go. And nowadays with that 3-point line,
Stop it.
No, I'm not
Stop
stopping
it, or I'll put you in my
'Cause
crosshairs.
I've seen it happen before. Like not in that amount of time. Like it was over
Oh,
at that point.
oh, not in that amount of
But
time.
I've
So
seen
you
it-
haven't seen it happen before.
But it's the championship game of the NBA Finals. Like
It's
I'm not
never
ta-
happened.
I'm not taking any chances. They in Game 3 they blew a 21-point lead almost.
and Alex, because Alex will remember, because I know that I did see your tweet about it. So I know you would. What was it when they did the challenge?
Oh my
it was
God.
like
It was like
2:11.
two
Like
low
20,
twos.
22
Very
points,
low twos.
2:11.
Yeah, it
like
was
Predator
hilarious.
versus prey.
Won the challenge though.
he did that
Perfect.
just to irritate people, and he irritated his own fans. Well, present
Perfect.
company excluded.
No,
You might be
definitely
an
didn't
outlier.
I
irritate
just
me.
wanted to celebrate. I just wanted the title.
It's
Of
not
course, I had
over
no
till
one to
it's
love
over.
Coach
celebrate.
Coach to
Hardo.
the end of the game.
I love
That's like what
Coach
he says
Hardo.
when they put the Stay Ready crew in at the end of the games that are blowouts. He says, "I coach the same as I would if Jason Tatum and Jalen were in the game because I
that's
owe it to
fine.
them to do that. It's not over. They're playing. It's not over.
But
That's how I
that
felt
makes
about all
sense.
that.
Like when the game is over and you're ready to celebrate a title, let's just get to celebrating the title. That's all. But coach it. You should coach all your players the same. That makes sense.
Coach to the end.
Theo, who I hung up on, writes in,
Yeah.
I went to the Brady event and my grandparents, with my grandparents, and that Randy Moss standing ovation was truly special. As someone who never saw him play because I was born in 09, I thought it was even cooler. So there you go. That was good.
Oh, nice.
Born in 09.
Yeah. Let's see. Carrie writes in, not sure why Evan seems to be so anti-British. At least.
Oh, we already read this email.
Oh, did we? Okay.
On Catch 22.
Okay.
I made a 1776 joke, and Carrie was very, very upset about it.
She looks forward to greeting you in London.
Anytime.
Greeting you.
Comedy doesn't exist anymore, Fred. You can't make jokes anymore. People get sensitive.
Yeah.
You sound like you're from London.
Claire will protect you.
Nate from Miami, love the show. Wondering if you guys have experienced parade goers, have any tips for a first timer coming from Miami for the parade on Friday? Any advice on where to go, what time, anything I should know? Would love to get some feedback.
Do you want to go first, or should I go first?
I used to always get there really early.
So where's there?
I liked the spot outside of the Commons. There's a nice wall
good
that
shout.
encloses the park, and you can stand on top of the wall. That's my spot. I won't gatekeep for Patriots Unfiltered.
You can
fans.
say nothing's going to hurt you tonight.
But
not on my watch.
Don't deal with your vehicle.
Yeah.
Get there early to take the train in, but you got to get there early enough to get on the train. Expect to just kind of camp and wait for.
Usually the train, the tea is free on parade day. So
Well, if you're coming from Miami, if you're staying in Boston, you're all set. Just walk out of your hotel and go
Yeah,
down.
I guess it depends where you're
Yeah,
staying.
it depends on where
but
you're staying.
I would say it's going to be a nice day. If you have the means, I would just do the whole day on foot. Expect to walk 25,000 steps and have a day.
Yeah.
Juice, did you go to any of the parades?
I've never been to a parade.
I would definitely say the Common is the easiest way to get to them, and the other thing, I think this might go without saying, but don't try to follow the parade.
You're not going to be able to.
You're not going to be able to. So just find a really good spot that you can post up in, and then watch the parade go by, and then unfortunately that's it. Like, as much as you would love to follow it or whatever, I've tried following it in the past, and trust me, it's
Now, have you guys ever gotten to go on the boats? I know some of the social
We've been invited
staff has
to,
in
but
the
we
past.
haven't.
I've always
We've
been
chosen
here.
not to.
Yeah.
But
Very
we have.
big of you.
Well, we have to work.
Yeah.
I went
basically.
on. I went on it in 2018, on the media duck boat.
Yeah.
The rest of the organization, like, this is like
marketing.
It's been a long time, but this is a complete ghost town.
Yeah.
And there have been times, literally, where Fred, Andy Hart, Paul Perillo, and Brian Moore, you were like 4 of 11
Ghost
people
town.
in the building. Literally.
Up until 20, we were doing the newspaper.
Right.
Yeah.
So we were putting out the newspaper. So I've never been to a parade.
We should, like a live PU on the duck boat during a parade would
That
be
would
pretty
be
rad.
baller.
That would be
Or just finding a spot to post up and have this kind of setup and do it. Would be cool
Post
too.
up at City Hall.
Yeah, I've been to quite a few.
Yeah, the
Same.
last Super Bowl was our last issue, correct? Right.
Right.
So it would have been February of 19. So we've never not had the paper. So we would probably have a decision to make now, if we won another Super Bowl, whether or not we'd go, because they do have, we're all the whole organization goes, and they're on,
Yeah, they put like the parking department on a duck boat.
Yeah, it's Mike Dussault, everybody.
Concessions.
Yeah, but we never got to go. Well,
No.
Never got to go.
I don't think we really wanted to go, but we didn't go.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
The rest of the
Bottom line,
organization, they
didn't go.
did.
It's
From
a lot
what
of
I
fun
hear
for the
from
fans.
people who have been on, there's something about when you make that turn onto the street with the park and just the whole crowd erupts and there's a bunch of people
It was
there.
it was a really cool experience.
It's always been fun right
in
there.
18, and I think the parades in general are fun because as a fan, that's the way that you get to celebrate with them, and like you're not going to go in the locker room or something like that after the game. So that's as close as you're going to get
And
to being part of the
18
celebration.
was so cool because it was February, but it was a beautiful day. We were out in t-shirts for that parade. People were running around. It felt like it must have been like 65 degrees randomly in February that day. People were running, the pond in the Common was frozen, and Patriots fans were running across it, and it was just like,
That doesn't sound very smart.
that is not safe. It's too hot to be doing that.
Wow.
It's a fun
But yeah.
Greetings from Santa Barbara, says Max. First off, great stream
Good soap
of the
opera.
Brady night.
Beautiful.
Why is Bill Burr's Andy Reid comment not there? I didn't know it wasn't. Say it ain't so that you've caved to political correctness. I didn't know. Is it not on there?
I don't know. I haven't
know.
looked. That was one of my favorite lines, though.
That
Andy
too
Reid's
fat?
too fat for
Yeah.
them to have as long of a
That was good. I just like the Josh Allen one.
Was that in the monologue or the photo portion?
photo
It was in
portion.
the photo
Yeah.
portion.
That ceremony reminded me of Orr's night when people got to say goodbye. As for the Celtics, having had season tickets during the Bird era, I can't watch what is passed off as the NBA now. But I can say the 84-86 Celtics, the 82-83 Sixers, and the 85-87 Lakers would go undefeated in today's game. The victory margin would only be determined by what rules they use, the 80s or the ones they don't exist now, where traveling, 3 seconds, etc. are not called. At least all 18 banners are legit, not like the 5 stolen ones the Lakers claim from Minnesota.
You do not need to watch.
I love this. I love that kind of bitterness, though.
Yeah,
I don't agree with a lot of it, but I love that kind of bitterness. The
Yeah.
It's
Laker
a great
thing,
season.
the Laker thing, like the
That's-
Minneapolis
oh,
ones
that's-
don't count.
Right.
That's fair.
That's like Evan's
totally
Pittsburgh
fair.
Steelers in the Hall of Fame thing.
Yeah,
Right.
no, the Laker thing is another one. Of my
The
Irrational
Laker thing
bitterness.
is one
I
of
love
my biggest pet peeves.
See, I
It
told you.
Those
really
belong
is.
to the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's
I-
the team in
They do.
Minnesota.
I do wonder if they call traveling how it would affect scoring. You know?
So I know that this is going to be
People hate
people
the
might
gather
disagree,
step.
but
Just hate it.
the way the rules are written,
It's traveling.
it's not by the book traveling. Now I'm not like if you think that should be traveling, then that's your opinion. That's fine. But the way that the rules are written in the NBA, the things that we are all looking at and saying he traveled.
So did they rewrite the rules? Because
So now
I always thought that the rule was if both feet leave the ground and you come down with the ball still in your hand, it's traveling.
So
Well,
there's a gather
That's
step.
a
The
jump. That's a
gather
jump
step.
stop. Too. Like that's a little different.
The gather step is in youth.
but-
If you ref youth basketball, the gather
Yeah,
step
there's
is
You
a
not-
thing.
get called for that every time. Just, as
Not when I was
someone who
reffing.
just got finished playing, watching my son, that jump stops and whatnot are very hard to get away with in high school.
Yeah, the gather step changed everything.
Yeah. Well, the gather step, the hop step.
Yeah. See, I don't mind that.
Again,
No.
if both, I was taught, because I played a little bit, if both feet leave the ground and you didn't pass or shoot and you come back down on the ground with the ball in your hand, it's a travel.
Right, but it's not. Like
No.
these guys are right. They've sort of
Well, what do you mean? I know it's not.
they've
but
re-
why?
they've
rewritten
redefined
the
things,
rule.
but
They've
prob-
redefined
But
it.
my problem with it is not necessarily the jump. This is great. The jump, Mike.
I'm
Jump
zoning
stop.
out, don't worry.
Basketball.
Just
You
keep
understand?
going.
So when
When
you
you're
when
on
you have
2
the
feet
jump stop, I
like
think
this.
that should be okay. Now
Bouncing
you
a
need to do
ball.
something. Now you can do this, and I'm sorry, I won't call it a jump stop anymore. I'll call it the gather step.
Yes.
Okay, so I can be like the Youngs.
Mm-hmm.
So the gather
it's-
step
they're two
followed
different
by
things.
the Jaylen Brown step through. Now it's 5 steps because he takes 2 steps, jumps in the air for a third. Now he takes like a step and a half to lay it in. Like, how could you possibly defend that?
Right.
The guy doesn't have to dribble.
So
Right.
if you,
I don't know how that can be stopped.
Well, because you have the gather, right, and then you have
Now,
a pivot foot.
Define to gather.
So the gather is like to you're running full speed, and you have a step to gather your momentum,
Right.
and then you have a pivot foot.
But when did that used to be
How
not
do you
allowed.
do like a layup without a gather step?
So you have
gotta get it.
you
Were
have
we
your
allowed
momentum.
to take a step and a half in our day?
Right.
Right, you have your momentum, right, and then you're able to. That's a gather step.
I know.
right?
I know what it is, but
Two.
like, why?
Bam.
Like, you never used to be able to get away with that.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I only know the NBA that I watch, right? Like I can't speak to that. But
Like lawlessness.
with the gather step, sure. With the gather step now, right, and then you have a pivot foot. If you lift the pivot foot, then it's a travel.
Right.
It should be a travel.
Yeah.
Which they should call that more. I think that the more egregious travels that I see are on step backs. Like these step back threes now,
God.
you know, guys like Luka or Jason Tatum will take like 3 steps back and then shoot it. Like
or
you
pivot
or to
10
the
times
side.
and
but
step
they
back.
actually called one last night on I think it was on Derrick Jones Jr. or PJ Washington.
I was stunned.
It was the incorrect call. It was
Right.
by the
Oh,
rule.
it
It actually was incorrect because when
Yeah.
you jump stop, you both feet are your pivot. You don't set a pivot foot yet, right? Because you jump stop on 2 feet, so you're actually able to lift either foot, and that's legal.
Yeah. See,
So-
now I just think that doesn't get called ever. So when it actually gets called, do you think that it was the wrong call? I look at
Right.
it as they missed the previous 99 violations. They just
Well,
happened to call
and
one.
I love the innocuous travels that they just overlook now. You know, you're bringing the ball up, right? Go over
It's
center court.
otherwise known as the LeBron.
Yeah, you throw it to the guy, and he takes 3 steps as he catches the ball. And, like, what is that? Like, you just walk.
boomer
You
takes.
just travel. You just
Well,
travel.
that's the email.
I think the
You
biggest.
just travel with nobody guarding you, like, in order to catch the ball, and there's no call.
But I just some of these calls like I just don't have a problem with because I'm not here to watch them call traveling 50 times. Like I agree.
Yeah, but I'm here to watch skill.
But I agree that there are certain instances that Paul's talking about, like with the Jaylen Brown step through. That's undefensible.
I think it's and it's clearly legal because he did not get called for traveling.
By the way, it's indefensible. But
indefensible.
Anyway.
Sorry.
What did I say? Undefensible?
Yeah, undefensible.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Indefensible. But if somebody inbounds the ball and they're not picking him up full court, and he has like a dribbling violation or he takes an extra step, like, are we really going to every single time we're going to now change the possession?
Yeah, I don't need that.
Yes. Yes.
No.
Yeah,
See,
follow the rules.
I don't need that in the backcourt.
I'm not here.
Learn how
I'm
to
not
dribble.
here to see the guys in the stripes. I'm here to see Luka Doncic and Jason Tatum play basketball.
I don't know. I just it makes it hard to defend.
Yeah, I think you get an advantage offensively. So here's the Peyton Pritchard. Ready?
So this
now,
is
here's
I'm
a
telling
dribble.
you,
1, 2, 3,
gather step,
4.
jump stop.
That's 4 steps.
I'm telling you right now,
4 steps.
Is that I'm telling you that's legal. Like I know you don't think
but
it doesn't
be.
But
it doesn't
it used to not be.
But it's not. Like they didn't change the rule to make that
that
legal.
is
That's
illegal.
4
That's
steps.
illegal basketball.
You
motion.
can't take 2 full
It's
steps
legal.
and then a
I'm
gather.
telling you it's legal. There's
Great
people
radio.
that post these things on Twitter that are rules experts, like these what's the guy Pereira or whatever his name is with the NFL.
Wayne Pereira.
Mike Pereira.
Mike Pereira. Like those guys exist for the NBA too. And somebody tagged one of them last night and said, "Didn't Peyton Pritchard travel?" And he explained step by step why by the rule that is not a travel.
Right.
But
he's wrong. Is the point? There's a rule book. They're not following.
So
You're right.
maybe
It would have been
wrong.
way more fun to watch if Pritchard didn't hit that shot and was called for a travel.
I just
I'm not. See, this is where I'm back with Evan. I don't want to see those. Like, I didn't want to see that play. Like, I don't need Johnny over a Fish's Jared whistling down a 55-foot shot. I don't need that. Now, the Jaylen Brown drives, yeah, because he's not scoring if you don't let him take 4 steps. He's not. Like, that to me is different. And that's not just Jaylen Brown.
No,
he's just the Celtics.
Yeah,
he's the best on the Celtics at that move.
It's the in the paint stuff
Yeah.
that really makes it
you
hard
get
to
a
defend.
unfair
the step through.
Luka takes 7 steps every time.
Yeah.
Like that whole like shot fake that he does, the feet are all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not. This is not like a Celtics thing.
I know.
This is an NBA thing.
No, Luka, I obviously with him being in the Western Conference, the Celtics only play him a couple times a year, and I knew going into the series that he was going to drive me crazy. But that style of basketball that he plays drives me absolutely through a wall, and it's why I'd never like James Harden either, because all they're doing is foul hunting the entire game that they have the ball, and it's just one guy dribbling the ball for 20 seconds into the shot clock. The one great thing I think about this Celtics team is that they play as a team. Like this is a team basketball.
Well, I'm gonna differ there a little bit. If there's one thing that drives me crazy with the Celtics, it's their offense. And they do the same
best offense
thing.
in the NBA.
No,
because they have the best players.
They do the same thing. I think they could be. I think they're dominant. But I think even if against the best player, best teams, they could be even more dominant if they ran a little bit of offense. Like run Tatum off the screens.
Paul's getting uncomfortable.
Just like what you just described is a lot of what the Celtics do. You know,
I disagree completely. They're a ball movement team.
Yeah,
they're ball.
Yeah.
So 3 guys just standing on the perimeter, just literally standing there.
It's called a 5-out offense.
I don't like that offense. It drives me crazy.
That's okay. I'm not like trying to.
I'm not saying it's not an offense. It's just it's individual.
Well, they're an advantage team, so they play to the numbers inside of the court, and then they drive the ball and they try to get multiple advantages. That's what Joe would call it. You beat one guy, you kick it out. If you have the open 3, you take it. If not, you drive it again.
And that's
you
it.
keep going.
Yeah,
that's
you
it.
swing the ball until you find the best shot.
And then
it's 3 guys standing, watching the guy drive, and they just standing there.
But it's so much better than watching Luka dribble the ball for 20 seconds in the shot
I'm not
clock.
saying that's
I'll watch
not true.
the Celtics pass around the court all day than watching like James Harden style.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't stand James Harden, but I don't find a lot of similarities between him and Luka.
Oh, really? I think they're super similar.
I think James Harden is constantly pump faking you at the 3-point line, throwing his ass into you to get to the line.
Yeah.
Like I don't think Luka does that.
Yeah.
I think Luka is
Luka's
more of
a better
pass. I think he's more of a
version of
pass
him.
first guy. To be honest with you, unfortunately for him, his team can't make shots, so his assist total doesn't reflect that.
Luka's one of the smartest players.
I thought he made.
Luka's a much better version.
I thought he
but
made 10 or
plays a lot
12 ridiculous passes per game, and he ended up with like 3 assists, 4 assists.
Nobody could hit
Well,
a
it's
shot.
fun-
No,
Yeah.
they all stink. Like that, the Jones guy was the funny shot,
Derek
55.
Jones Jr.
He stinks.
You think he stinks?
Let Derek Lively. doesn't have any idea whatsoever how to play. I won't
He's
say
a
he
rookie.
stinks because he's just a rookie.
Yeah.
But he has no clue how to play basketball.
No, but he's
and these are the guys that are getting these passes.
Anyway.
They can't do anything.
I think the biggest.
But you can't. The offense thing, Fred. You want to back away from that.
Well-
the green
well-
teamers are going to kill you.
Well,
the green teamers will kill
he's
you.
not on he's not on an island that take it all. People have been saying it for years.
Yeah, I know, and I
but
know
now,
what happens to those people.
Unfortunately, to all
We
those
don't
people,
find them anymore.
Now they won a title with this style of basketball. So now that's they have
won
the
a
trump
title
card.
because Jaylen Brown and Tatum are that good.
I don't
They're
know.
better than the
that,
other
That
team.
might be true, but yeah, it's I think the biggest thing though with Dallas that has to be kicking themselves is in the Oklahoma City series they made all of those threes. They shot an incredibly well. P.J. Washington, Derrick Jones Jr., all their role players made threes in that Oklahoma City series, which is why they upset Oklahoma City in the second round. And then in this series, in the finals, all of them were ice cold.
Except for that one game.
They get like a wide open three every possession. They just never make them.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the Mavs are such a pace team. The Celtics took away two of their biggest threats, their pace and their lob threat. And they didn't have that to really settle in. So those shots, just when they don't fall, that's all they could rely on because, again, the lob threat was gone with Porzingis
lob
and
threats
Horford
and corner threes were their whole offense, other than Luka being Luka, and the Celtics did a great job on that.
Steven says enough basketball talk. Let's get to
Was
some
waiting
real.
for that.
Let's get to some real conversation. Guard talk. Did you all hear about the injury update Reese gave on Cole Strange's injury? Seems more serious than the ACL injury that was rumored. Also, not a good sign for a guy that was drafted off of his athletic ability.
Yeah.
Also, we picked up a UFL guard. No idea who he is, but it's Patriots news.
No,
Today?
it's not.
They did?
They're gonna it was
they're making him.
Aaron Wilson had it last night, but
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, they
The other thing is not really. I mean, no, well,
Patellar
respect,
tendon.
Patellar
yeah,
tendon.
That's. Mike Reese has the specific injury, but there's no update there. Like Ian Rappaport about 2 months ago said he won't be ready to start the season, and Gerard Mayo confirmed that.
Yeah.
Like 6 weeks ago.
I just wonder if there's a job waiting for him when he does get back. I mean, if City's good,
Oh, yeah.
and you want to leave City
Yeah,
there.
I'm still intrigued by that Onwenu move.
Yeah.
You know, if the guy wants 5 minutes of football,
Yes.
I think that's the whole best five theory.
Yeah.
And I'm intrigued by that.
Yeah.
James Pettigrew, the most interesting Patriots fan in the world, says, I'm with Fred. I'm more of a hunter than a gatherer. Real men dribble. Talk about the gather move.
Oh,
You get it?
it's a nice sport you guys have here. You can't even figure out the rules. It's great.
I know the rules.
Neither
Some
can
people
they.
don't, but
Let's
If
see.
you can show me a rule book that they changed the definition of traveling,
There's
because
addendum.
clearly there's a different interpretation, and I agree with most of it. Like step backs, I don't think people want to see travels on step, but it's traveling. You have to just because they don't call it doesn't mean it's not technically traveling.
If you're going backwards, you can take as many steps as you want.
Or sideways.
Yeah.
Like you can clear yourself from a defender, but just by making a fake one way, just stepping the other way.
Well, that's called a Euro step.
Well, it's called a travel.
Jasper.
A Euro step is kind of a travel.
The Eurostep's the travel. You heard it here first.
Jasper,
started
Kinda
this
is.
all. That's what
I
started
would have
this
been
all.
screwed because that was my thing.
Jasper in Somerville.
I need
Is
some
there
film.
something Patriots-esque about this Celtics team? Are they kind of do your job? Missoula is sort of on the Belichick spectrum and perhaps other spectrums.
I do not think there's much comparisons between Missoula and Belichick.
I
The
would
rest
argue
of it, I would
Stevens.
say, yes.
I would say Brad Stevens is at the level where I trust anything he does, and I wouldn't question it.
you and
He
you and NBA Kenny.
He sees basketball how I see basketball.
Does
That is
Danny
my
Ainge,
GM.
Does Danny Ainge get enough
Yes.
love?
Lockstep.
Wow.
Does he get enough love?
I
he got
saw a
plenty of
very
love.
nice column
Yeah, he got
about
some nice
Danny
love
Ainge
last
this
night.
morning, and
Yeah.
I
give him credit for the drafts.
Horford gave
Yeah.
him a really nice shout out too about a conversation
I mean,
Horford had when he first signed.
Him really picking Jason and Jalen.
Yeah.
Those two number 3 picks, that was brilliant.
And those
Brilliance
weren't
by Danny Ainge.
Those
and not
weren't
no-brainers.
No-brainers.
Right.
Like it wasn't consensus, especially Jalen. Really wasn't the consensus, and they
Yeah.
traded out of the number 1 pick.
I would give him just as much credit for the trade with Tatum, too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Really
the
would.
trade for
Yeah,
Tatum was
totally.
great, but Tatum was going to be a top 3 pick one way or the other.
Yeah.
When on draft night, most Celtics fans, probably myself included, wanted Jamal Murray with that Jaylen Brown pick, and they picked Jaylen Brown instead. Now Murray's a great player too, but Jaylen is a much more
People wanted
dominant
Chris
defender.
Dunn over Jason Tatum. Like it
yeah,
was,
he's a much
Well,
better
they wanted
defender.
Markelle Fultz at 1. They
that
didn't
too.
want to trade.
Thank
Like,
God.
So speaking of the draft in the NBA, the NBA's making their draft a 2-night event now.
Yeah, I saw
I-
that.
isn't the only interest the top 5 picks, and after that it doesn't matter?
And
Well,
really
how are they going to get 2 nights out of
rounds,
this?
It's
thing?
just
Right?
the
So it's 2
lottery
rounds.
picks,
So
yeah.
yes and no. I mean, one of the big things now, though, with the NBA, and this is very Belichickian, is because of the new salary cap system in the NBA, draft picks are going to become a lot more valuable here soon because the cheap, cost-controlled asset.
Well, they're going to become more valuable. Are the players going to be any
Right,
good?
the players aren't going to change.
Well,
Right.
I don't know, but there are guys that have been second-round picks that have gone on to be fantastic players in the NBA. There's undrafted guys that have gone on to be, at least rotation guys. But with the new Abrams and all that stuff with the salary cap, it's all nerd stuff. I won't bog it down, but that stuff is going to matter now. Hitting in the draft is going to matter a little bit more in the NBA because you're going to need the cheap contracts because you're not going to be able to fill out the roster with expensive contracts across the board anymore.
Okay. Alan writes in, this show has got me through high school, college, my first marriage, my first divorce, and a lot of life and career challenges. That being said, trying to get caught up on shows to hear Mr. Perillo say that he doesn't go to live concerts prompts me to throw the red flag. I don't consider myself the obligatory expert listener, but I will be the audio crew chief on site at Fenway for Lana Del Rey and Hootie and the Blowfish this week. It's my first time in Boston, and I hope to catch the Celtics parade while in town. I welcome Paul or any of the crew to stop by front of house and say hello, and I would be happy to give the behind-the-scenes tour to show what our industry is all about. Hashtag bring Alex.
I would love to see Lana
Hey
Del
now.
Rey.
Why is that?
My
Why do you
email
want to bring
address-
Alex?
Well, me and my sister are huge Lana fans. My email address is alexandraf@craftse.com.
Say that again in case he missed it.
alexandraf@craftse.com. Big Lana Del Rey
Invitation.
fan.
What about
Invitation
Hootie?
coming.
Not
Oh,
Hootie?
Darius Rucker's my guy too.
I've seen Hootie.
but I don't want to
They're
be. I don't want to be like.
I don't want to be with
Oh, when he does Let Her Cry, I mean, forget about it.
He did Wagon Wheel as an encore.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty good.
That's a Woodshed song too. By
That's
the way.
not
That
a
is
Hootie
a,
song.
that is a Woodshed
That's a
song.
Woodshed
We
song.
shut it down for
Yeah.
that.
Shout out
the other
Woodshed
night.
Brewster.
Shout out to the Woodshed.
You ever go there, Fred? The
Woodshed?
Woodshed.
Oh, back in the day.
Yeah.
This is my college days. Woodshed was a great place.
It
Yeah.
still is.
Yeah,
Live
I was-
music.
It still is.
Where
It's
is
an
that?
awesome.
It's in
Brewster.
Brewster, right off
6A.
This is
6A.
where. Well, never mind. That was
Yeah.
off air, right?
Yeah,
It's a very
Oh, the
small.
yes,
I used to
the
love
bachelorette party.
Yeah.
Woodshed.
Me too. I almost got picked up by like an older woman there one time, where it was like her and her friends. And
Oh
she was
my
like,
God.
Come
Some of
sit
his
with us
stories
here.
are
Mrs. Robinson.
No, but
No,
it
and
is
I was
like
like,
that
I'm in.
older mix of people. I was
Yeah.
I'm on a bachelorette trip, and there's a woman next to us, and it's a husband and wife. Actually, they weren't married, which I later found out.
This story's getting more complicated.
Just as a quick aside, the guy told us, was like, how many of you girls are married and engaged? And then he goes, we were both married before, and then we met, and now we're both divorced. And I was like, oh, wow, okay.
Oh.
But this woman
That's
could
going
barely
around.
keep her eyes open. She was so inebriated, but she's just picking jams all night. Couldn't keep her eyes closed. But
I know.
it's the best mix of like
Yeah.
old and super young,
Yeah.
and we
A
had
lot
a
of
good time.
townies, a lot of tourists. It's
Yeah.
a great place.
Live
It's like
music,
it's like an
the
old
Celtics
barn,
were
Paul.
on,
It's like
it
an
was
old
awesome.
barn next to a
when was the
motel.
last
Giving
time?
out free
But when was the last
advertising,
time you
dude.
were there?
I haven't been there in a few years now, but not too long. I mean, it's we
Feels
could
like
go
I'm too
there.
old to be there.
No,
No,
you're not.
no,
If
You're
there's
not.
bachelorette parties there,
The
I'm
man
too old
that
to
bought
be
a
there.
shot
Yeah.
was older than you.
But it's really small and I don't know.
humble
It's a,
brag.
it's a
He was
special
even older
place.
than you.
Humble
That's the way I heard
The
that.
guy was like in his
I-
70s asking
that
us
too.
if we wanted shots. We were like, yeah.
And there used to be a
I would have
tip.
bought you
Was it
shots.
Bill
Back in the
I know you
day,
would.
like if it was a Friday, like the line
Oh,
would be
no,
around the
forget
corner,
it.
but there's a restaurant attached, and it's a nice. And so if you had dinner there, there was used to be another entrance you could go in
Through the back.
without paying
Yeah.
cover and waiting in line.
Yeah.
So that's a little tip.
Before they
I don't
put-
know, but this is years ago. I don't know if it's still the same.
I think
No.
so. I think it is
Yeah.
because there was supposed to be. I was prepared for a cover at least. The guys just.
Yeah.
You had your cash
I
out.
don't know.
So many humble brags today, huh?
I was ready to
It's
It's
say.
not
like-
a humble
like
brag.
Megan
it's
came
just
back.
being a girl.
Yeah, right. Oh, I have to.
I
pay?
didn't have to pay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's tough.
Well,
It's
back in
tough
the
being
day,
attractive.
when you
Yeah.
Didn't
in
have to pay.
Massachusetts, when you could have drink specials, you'd have ladies drink half off to get the women in.
Yeah.
Because then the men would come in.
Ladies
you
drink
No
know?
one
great.
wants a sausage fest.
Yeah.
And I wondered, why am I so hot?
Sword fight. Yeah.
There it is. The mega drop. Why am I so hot?
Burton Island. This is going back a few episodes, he says, talking about my flawed memory. you guys were talking baseball, and somehow Walter Johnson came up, and Fred noted how tall he was. This puzzled Paul, and it would have me as well, since Walter Johnson's career started in 1907. That was the joke. I'm pretty sure Fred was thinking of Randy Johnson. No, he was tall, but I was thinking of Walter the Train Johnson. And
I think it was Big Train.
Big Train, yeah.
Big Train.
But he slung that ball like a slingshot.
How do you know?
Because they have all film.
You read
of them.
books. You don't see film.
No, they have film of Walter
The black
Johnson.
and white film before they had sound.
Yeah.
So
I was not talking about Randy.
Listeners, I'm putting a challenge out. I want video of Walter Johnson striking somebody out.
And Randy Johnson's a photographer now. Have you seen him? He's like a professional sports photographer.
Is he
on,
really?
like the sidelines of NFL games and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
And
yeah.
he is like 6'10".
Yeah.
He's really
random.
Tall.
The big unit.
The big unit.
The big unit.
The one and only.
That nickname doesn't hold up.
No.
Yeah, that's been canceled.
Yeah.
Rich in New York City wanted to write in and thank everyone for the Brady night. I remember watching the Larry Bird night on TV when I was a kid, and seeing that Brady night in person was a once-in-a-lifetime event. I enjoyed every minute. Go Celtics, by the way. Besides the non-traveling calls, the NBA should not have gotten rid of the hand check rule.
Okay.
What is that?
Yeah,
You're not allowed to hand
I
check
disagree
people?
on that one.
Be like you get the guy.
Every time you put a hand on a guy, they would call a foul.
Yeah, no, as long as you're not pushing. You know, you
Yeah.
extend the arm. You know. I mean, you got to.
This is my favorite part of the show, is us arguing about
rules.
Basketball
rules, and
I
if
love
the
it too,
Celtics have
Evan.
good ball movement or not.
Yeah.
I stay out of the. Don't put me in the offense one. I'm out.
I hear you on
Don't be
that.
afraid.
I'm out on
Paul.
saying anything negative about the Celtics.
and
I'm out.
I feel myself green teaming in those instances.
That's a mafia.
And I
I'm afraid
apologize
of
for
that.
that. I do. But that's the way they play offense, and they just won a title. So
I
guess
think they
it
could be
works.
even better, believe it or not.
What's going on with Celtics next year though? What do we got? Like contracts?
Al
or something?
Horford's coming
team.
back.
Same team. And they can.
Same
Do you
team.
think that they can get Porzingis' body to be healthy? Because it looks like a ridiculous body.
It's crazy because they did everything in their power. They coasted him all regular season,
He
where
missed like 30 games.
he didn't play a ton of back-to-backs. Anytime that he had a tweak, it was like, let's shut him down for 10 games. Like, they did everything they could to have him healthy for the playoffs, and he still got hurt in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And it's going to be
but-
harder as Al gets older and older, because Al also can't take that load. So it'll be
Well, to
interesting
Paul-
to see
you
what
know,
they do at center. Or
To the injury point of it, when they do play some of these teams that have true centers or true big men, then having a 39-year-old Al Horford as your starting center is going to start to matter a little bit more. They just didn't really run into those teams this time around. But, if they have Embiid, if they have Giannis, who can obviously attack the paint, if they play Jokic in the finals, like those things are going to start to matter. Whereas in this run, they didn't necessarily run into a dominant paint team like that could take advantage. So
Let's go to the phones. Melvin's in Tennessee. What's up, Melvin?
What's up, y'all?
Hey, Melvin.
Yes.
There he is. What's up?
Okay. Cool. So, I was just going to talk about. I was just talking about the Celtics, obviously. So, like, all these teams right on the cusp before they broke through last night of making these important decisions and getting over. Obviously, the Patriots do it several times, but switching gears kind of to a team that was similar, like San Francisco in the NFL. Do you think kind of window that they should be trying to give Brandon Ayuk that $30 million contract that he's looking for? Because at one aspect, obviously it's a lot of money, but you don't want to get this close because they've been probably one of the best teams for the last probably close to 15 years that probably hadn't won a title. But would you kind of see what you need to do to get him a contract so that you can keep this window open? You don't want to be a team like possibly the Bills that just had their window. Possibly they just missed their chance to win that title. So
No, I hear you.
the money.
So would you give Ayuk the money? Or we were talking about this a couple shows ago. Is it too soon?
For the Patriots?
For the Patriots. Because you got to see what you have in Drake May first to see if it's worth investing in that high-priced wide receiver. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel now. And I don't know if that's just you get lazy or what, but did you just get to this point and you're like, all right, these are the guys that we have right now. Let's see how it goes and, start to try to fill holes. But I thought he was talking about if San Francisco should do it. Like, should San Francisco
that's
over
what
to
I think he
seven?
was saying.
And I mean, I kind of think, because I think Debo is the name, but I don't know if Debo's really the biggest piece of that
I think
whole
it's
pie.
going to decline reasonably quickly for Debo.
Yeah.
I feel like Brandon Ayuk's their best receiver.
Yeah.
Like McCaffrey's their best offensive player. But in terms of receivers, I don't think Debo and George Kittle are what they used to be. Even Kittle is slowed down a little bit and has had some injuries. So Brandon Ayuk is their best player on offense outside of Christian McCaffrey.
He's young.
And they have Brock Purdy on that rookie contract for another couple more years.
Yeah.
So I don't see that's the whole thing when we talk about Ayuk for the Patriots. I'm like, why are the Niners trading Brandon Ayuk? Like, it doesn't make any sense from a San Francisco standpoint. And we saw it. He's talking about the Celtics and a team that I agree that the Niners are probably they're a pretty good comp for the Celtics over the last couple of years.
Yep, that
a
works.
super talented team, but just like the Celtics, like maybe the Niners next year don't play Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, and then it becomes their year to win it. So if I'm the Niners, I'm sticking to your formula right now.
I'd keep trying.
How
I'd go back to that well.
I would too.
How secure do you think Purdy is? I mean, do you think that's like
Ish.
a
I think
year-to-year
he's very
situation?
impatient. Shanahan, I think, is very impatient with quarterbacks.
I do wonder, and obviously him and McVay are really good friends. McVay finally won one with Stafford. He got rid of the system quarterback and the fine quarterback with Jared Goff. And I don't know if it will happen this year, next year, or whatever, but 5 years from now, if Kyle Shanahan still doesn't have a Super Bowl, is he going to say, I'll take 2 years of, kind of what the Jets have been trying to do with Aaron Rodgers. I'll take 2 years of some aging Hall of Famer and win a Super Bowl with this guy because Brock Purdy can't get me over the hump.
It's probably too simplistic of an argument, but I mean, if you were going to simplify it, it just seems like you've been there a couple times and it's been the quarterback. That's been the piece that can't quite play great right at the end to get you over the top. I wonder how patient they'll be with him.
Alex writes in. Where's Alex from? Raleigh, North Carolina. Very excited that the Celtics got over the hump to win the finals. That was a huge relief, like Evan said, because we are aware of how close they got and what happened last finals. My question is, are the Celtics a model for how the Patriots could follow a path to win a championship? They drafted young players, let them play early, and surrounded Jalen and Jason with good enough supporting cast over time, while not exactly the same. What are some takeaways? Are the Celtics a team that the Patriots could follow?
I think the Celtics model as a team is a model that any team would
They
want
did
to
it the
follow.
right way.
Get some good players and then get more good players. Like, I don't really think it's a secret. I think you hit on 2 number 3 overall picks.
Yeah.
And we talked about 20 minutes ago, Danny Ainge, all the credit in the world for that. But I think any team would want to get as many good players as they can. That's what the Celtics did.
Yeah, I feel like the Celtics, too, early on did a nice job, even though it didn't work out with Kyrie here, obviously. They did a nice job of not putting too much on the Jays' plates early on in their careers, where they had Al Horford, they had Kyrie Irving, they even had guys like Marcus Smart and Terry Rozier, who played a lot of minutes early on in their careers, and they ended up arriving sooner than everybody expected when they went to the conference finals against the Cavs, but it wasn't because that was the plan. The plan was to play Kyrie and Gordon Hayward and Al Horford and veteran players and have the Jays be the supplement, and it just flip-flopped on itself. So I could see that being a little bit of a model with Drake May is you got to have the veteran foundation around him to be able to get them over.
And
the
you
hump.
had to get those guys to buy in too, because any one of the guys along the way could have pulled a Kyrie and gotten frustrated when it didn't work out and bounced to Brooklyn or wherever. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
And that
especially in that league.
That's a huge intangible in the NBA, and sometimes you see it in the NFL too. It's a lot harder for these players to kind of dictate how things play out, but it's as these guys' profiles raise and as egos grow, the more you're in the league, sometimes you get frustrated and you do just kind of poop in your own bed, for lack of a better phrase, without any profanity.
Poop where you eat.
Yeah.
I think that, like I said, I think any team would want to do it. Like, I think every team is trying to do it that way. I just think it's ridiculously hard.
Let's draft 2 future Hall of Famers.
Right.
Okay, let's go.
And then we're going to trade for a couple other proven veteran stars.
Yeah.
Like Drew Holiday and Porzingis were stars.
Yeah.
Like it's I think any team would want to do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to hit on all of that.
Right. It's just like the 49ers.
But the Celtics didn't hit on it for a long time. I felt like they were cursed with how things played out with Kyrie,
but they couldn't
the
get
Gordon
over
Hayward thing.
They couldn't get, but the
They're still a
manner in
great
which
team.
they were collecting
Yeah.
talent, and Evan, you brought up like that trip. We're gonna stick with the Celtics. That trip to
Okay,
Cleveland.
program manager.
I heard Ryan Russillo talk about this, and I think he made a really good point. They were way ahead of schedule.
Way
Like
ahead.
they
I mean,
weren't
Jason Tatum
supposed
was a
to.
rookie.
When Hayward goes down, you weren't expecting to be that successful.
Blessing in disguise.
And it almost looks like at the time, you sort of think of it as, well, these guys are disappointing. They can't get over the hump, blah, 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 blah. But really, they were way ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have been that far.
Yeah, this was always go back to the Green Teamers. This is always our argument of when people said that the Celtics were underachieving by not winning. We would say, well, MJ didn't win till year 7, LeBron didn't win till year X.
God, do I hate that
so
argument.
far and so forth. And the Jays, them winning at 27 and 26 is when they're supposed to start winning.
Didn't Larry win in year 2?
Yeah,
And Magic won too, but
and they also ignore the fact that he's younger. Like the age only comes into play when you talk about the years in the league.
Right.
Like I hate it all. But to your point, the Green Teamers, they want it both ways, because they thought they were the best in the league when they weren't. And then afterwards they said, you're being too hard on them for saying they were supposed to win.
Yeah,
like the
that's
Bridgies were the
different.
best team ever, according to the Green
Yeah,
Teamers.
that's different.
Jay Crowder. Gotta love Jay Crowder, man. He's got rocks in his pockets.
Yeah.
Whatever.
that's different. But Magic
Jay
won.
Crowder.
Magic won with Kareem early, but he had Kareem.
Right.
Right. So that was different. But I feel like a lot of people in that league, it does take them, like to Paul's point, not age, but like seasons in the NBA
7.
to get to the point where you win a title. So the Celtics were way ahead of schedule. I mean, I remember Tatum dunking on LeBron in Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals, and you thought that they were already arriving, and it was crazy.
But the reason why I take a little exception to it, like Michael Jordan didn't win until year 7. Do you think if Michael Jordan didn't have to go through the Celtics and the Pistons, that he would have won before year 7?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, probably.
Like, how many years did Michael Jordan not win it when he had the best team?
That's fair.
The answer to that would be 0.
But do you think the Celtics were actually better than Golden State in 2022?
In 2022, no, I don't. I think
Right.
that's a Celtics Green Teamer
I don't think they were better.
misjudgment. They think they were better than them. They think they blew that series. They were down by double digits in the fourth quarter of 5 out of the 6 games.
No, I don't think they were
The better team
at all.
won that series.
I agree.
Juan in Monterey, first off,
We agree on
congratulations, Celtics. Why did Evan dress like he played on the team?
That's what I said too.
Because he did.
Oh,
The
he
Megan-
needs the goggles.
The Megan jersey rule should apply for fans who dress like they played in the game. Just a T-shirt
Oh,
or the hat is enough, not both.
Oh.
No, both is
No,
definitely
that's
Finger
fine.
wagging.
That's fine.
I think it's
both
I think
is
it was-
definitely warranted.
No.
I think it was funny.
No, when
actually.
these teams win championships, they come out with the T-shirt and the hat. That's
Yeah.
what the fans are expected to wear.
I am not ashamed.
You got a big,
Even one
big
bit.
I
dumb
think you
smile
should've
on your
taken
face.
it
You walked in
to
this
another
morning. You knew
level with the
exactly what you were doing.
goggles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Alex wanted him to wear goggles too. That
I
would've
would
been
have come.
hilarious.
I would have come doused in champagne
Yeah.
to work today.
That would have been funny.
You were at that party last night? Did you go to the Encore too?
No, I wasn't invited.
No,
I tried.
I'm sorry.
Was that where the after party was?
No, they're.
I don't know where they
Big
were,
Night
actually.
Live.
So, obviously, the NBA Finals isn't like the Super Bowl because one game, week build-up. But do they have like a post-game party that the winning team puts on?
So the Celtics were at Big Night Live, which is in the Garden.
Okay.
So it's like attached to the Garden on the outside.
And like VIPs get
Yeah.
invitations
I
to
don't know
that,
if
or you
you've-
buy tickets to it? or-
Have you been to the Garden with the new entrance in the
Y-
back?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
With the big stairs by the
right.
banner.
So there's banners on the
Yeah,
left.
yeah.
And then the
On
Guy
the right
Fieri's
side.
restaurant.
Yeah.
Big Night Live is in that complex.
Okay.
And so they just went from the court to locker room to Big Night Live, and then apparently back
But
to
like,
the locker
who
room.
gets to go to that?
Just like friends, family,
Oh,
VIPs.
so it's not like
No, we
like the
can't,
Patriots.
No.
They have
No,
like
this is like
3,000 sponsors.
this is like the actual team.
Okay.
You know, and friends, family.
So it's a little
type
different.
Thing.
So
yeah.
they let loose a little bit more, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the
and now they're going out of Miami, right?
now they're going out to Miami, then they're coming back.
Why
up
are they
for the
doing
break.
that?
Just for fun.
Party.
The club.
Parties.
Yeah.
Really?
My guess is
Hit up Live.
in order to get them to come to the parade, they're going to give them a trip to Miami so they make sure they come. That's my guess.
Oh, that's going to be wild. On the Strip?
Oh yeah.
Are they going to be
Yeah.
at the what's that Fontaine Hotel?
Fontainebleau.
Fontainebleau.
I believe.
Fontainebleau, Live. What's the other one? The Komodo Lounge is a big one.
Yeah.
South Beach Alex.
Yeah.
Okay.
South Beach
Anytime you're
Alex
talking
was
about
the vibe.
partying,
I was actually
Alex
a little,
chimes right in.
I was a little surprised that I guess maybe it's a little bit of a shorter flight, but they're a Vegas crew, so I was a little surprised that they picked Miami over Vegas.
It's
Think
here on
Deuce
the
will go?
East Coast, though. It's a quick flight.
I'll go.
Quick 3 hours.
I
Bam.
know
There.
they love the Encore. They're at the Encore
In Vegas
no,
or
here.
No, here. That's
They-
why I was surprised that they
they're
didn't.
at the
Someone
Encore
loves it
I was
there.
surprised they didn't
all
go.
the time. Well, they go to the club upstairs and they got
Yeah.
VIPs and stuff.
Memoir.
Let's
Not
see.
that I would know. Like, I'm not a stalker or anything, you know.
Anthony writes in, "Hi Deuce, just wanted to shout you out since you are completely absent from the basketball talk.
Nice.
To ignore
you.
Deuce yet again, the biggest
Oh.
pet peeve I have with traveling dribbling is that every single player now commits a double dribble every time they touch the ball. Back in my day, putting your hand under the ball or windmilling could be called a double dribble every time. It was called
Carry.
Carrying.
Yep. Evan, as a man of a similar age and potentially similar musical tastes, have you ever heard of State Radio? They're a Boston band that I love, have seen them numerous times, and they put on a great show. Just curious because they're local, and as I recall, you were the only live music enjoyer in the room.
No, that's not true.
What? I
Why?
love Liza. I
Their
wasn't here
they
for
were
this
their lead
conversation.
singer was the lead singer of the band Dispatch.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
So
Oh, that clears it up
The
for me.
general.
Yeah.
So we were my friend group were big Dispatch, State Radio, all
Oh.
those people.
It's
Yeah.
back in your hippie days, huh?
Those are back in my day. Yeah.
I used to love it's not the music I don't, it's the crowds.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to deal with humanity the way I used to, you know.
Doesn't
Fair
like
enough.
people.
No,
Yeah.
no.
It's just like it's crowded and you're in my way.
You gotta get in. You
Yeah.
gotta get out.
Hungry.
You gotta get food.
Yeah.
My little
I'm with
sister
you.
almost got trampled at a concert last summer.
Yeah.
God.
I've taken a step back since.
I love all the emails about the NBA rules though. We're
I
gonna
know,
start something.
Can we
here.
do some hockey rules? Because I could participate. All right.
No.
Yeah,
no,
I,
please stay in the
and I
corner
do
over
feel
there.
like, not to take your side here, I do feel
No,
like the
please do.
NBA is sort of in the crosshairs more than the other sports. There's a lot of things that you used to not be able to do in sports that you can do. Like, the hockey's much different.
Yeah. No more finish your check.
Or
and hockey.
as in football, there's a lot of things you used to be able to do that you can't do, like hitting the quarterback.
Right.
Well,
Or in
yeah,
bed
that's
or
another
in
launching.
That's an example.
Launching,
Yeah.
yeah.
But they actually changed the rules. The NBA, they didn't formally change the rule. They
But
just
they
did.
stop calling
I'm
it.
just gonna-
Right.
You know,
I'm staying out of it.
Just breathe.
it's like it started with
The
David
hand
Stern.
check
4
rule is
seconds
formally
in, 4
changed.
seconds out.
I just have to say though, as a casual basketball fan who my son played this year, like watching some of it, it's hard to like remember. Like, wait, how many steps can you? Because if you watch one of those
Well.
games, it's like everything you laid out, where it's like step, 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 step. You
But
know,
that's different.
It's hard to.
He's 12.
Well, I'm
right?
saying like just as like a
If
casual
you called
fan, I'm
every
trying-
every
Yeah.
travel
Oh,
at that
yeah,
level,
yeah, yeah.
you wouldn't get the game.
No, but
over.
just as a dad trying to understand what the actual rules of the game are, it's hard to actually watch it and understand. Having played CYO, like, all right, I remember what traveling was, but like, it looks like he's taking a lot of steps. As a casual fan, like that's what it seems
as
like.
like a very much a basketball guy, all these like travels and like I don't even watch the game like that because I'm just watching it to enjoy the game. I guess that's like my biggest gripe with people that are like that. It's like, so you're sitting there on your couch and you're complaining while watching the NBA finals that a guy was dribbling down the court with nobody around him and he carried and he didn't call it.
No, I
And
would
it's
never
like-
complain about that.
It's like, who cares? Like, that's not the point of why we're
I
watching
complain
this.
about everything else.
Like, if they start calling all these little things all the time, we're gonna be
We'll be
here
here
for-
all day.
Right.
Well,
and
then
it's-
change.
stuff to
What I'm
do.
saying, then change the rule.
They say that they've changed it. Why don't we move on? Just like you can't get your grips on your offense. I told you don't want to fight these people. They're dangerous.
It's true. Hard to
Kelsey in Prince Edward Island, Canada. Request for Craft Sports and Entertainment produce basketball podcast. Only stipulation is Mike has to spearhead it.
Yes. That'd be
Perfect.
fun.
do. Alex and I could do
Here
a
we are again.
basketball
I think we
podcast.
could.
We legitimately could.
L from Wisconsin again, just like the NFL was trying to get rid of the kickoff, the NBA is trying to get rid of dribbling.
Nope, still not funny.
They've succeeded.
It's good.
Sorry, Al.
No.
Just run up the field with it.
We hate athleticism. Displays of athleticism, I guess.
Yeah, because back in their day,
Back in our day.
guys couldn't get off the ground when they
right.
jumped.
Yeah, exactly.
So they didn't
Those
know how
athletic
to.
moves to the
Oh.
basket back in
Yeah.
my day
Yeah,
wound
Doc-
up with a trip to the
Yeah,
hospital.
Literally.
Dr. J couldn't jump.
No.
Yeah, no, he had
Okay,
the one.
wow.
He had no.
The
he had
one guy,
George
Fred.
Gervin, no athleticism.
The one guy that can
David
jump.
Thompson, another stiff.
Right.
Another landlocked stiff.
Who are these people?
I know who all these people are, but I was only kidding. I knew that would get them going. So.
Let's see. Declan writes in, huge Celtics fan, longtime follower of Evan, who you guys keep calling Alex.
No, that's
What?
Alex.
No?
There's
Yeah.
two different people.
And just wanted to point out the Celtics winning did a lot for our other teams. Red Sox, Patriots, and Bruins can breathe, but I want more. You think so? I think it makes some more pressure on the other team.
I don't think that has anything to do with
when the
three teams.
Patriots won that Super Bowl in 2001, there had been a drought in Boston for championships. And, a lot of people said that put pressure on the other owners to say, hey, we got to, keep up here.
Yeah, I mean, Wick Grossbeck right now, his popularity rate is through the roof because of how he's paid for the Celtics team. And
Did you read that story in the paper?
Yeah,
a couple weeks ago.
To contrast it to what's going on at Fenway Park right now, it's pretty drastic to see which guy is actually paying the money to foot a winner and which one isn't. So
yeah, yep. Nate writes in. He's 13. He's from Connecticut.
Nice.
Question is, what wide receivers will get a spot on the 53-man roster and what ones won't? I'm thinking Juju, Butte, and Thornton could be in on the chopping block. I think everyone here would agree with you.
Yeah, I did my first 53-man roster projection on Monday after the spring, and I had Kendrick Bourne, obviously, Pop Douglas, the two rookies, Baker, Polk, Jalen Reagor. Is that 5? I'm trying to remember who the 6th one was. It'll come to me in a second. But I had Juju, I feel like is cut, traded. Something happens with him along those lines. Tyquan Thornton, I think, gets the chopping block as well. And I don't have Booty on right now either. I feel like, I don't know, maybe you guys disagree with me with Booty, but a lot of buzz coming out of minicamp in the spring about Keyshawn Booty. And
I think he had a good practice Wednesday.
Yeah, and I haven't seen it consistently. He's had his moments in the sun, like he did on that Wednesday practice, but I just haven't seen this consistently. I hear so much about Keyshawn Booty. Oh, well, if he hits his ceiling, he's going to be a number 2 receiver in the league. I'm like, we're still hanging on to that one season at LSU that's now like 5 years ago. Right. And we're saying...
at least if it was his last year at LSU, you'd say he's an ascending player.
Right.
But he had like this breakthrough freshman year and never really lived up to that again. I kind of agree with Evan. I don't know who the guys are going to be specifically, but if you're going off of the practices, the only one I thought that consistently stacked days once he showed up was KJ Osborne.
Like he was the 6th guy.
When he started, like he was kind of slow. I thought we didn't really notice him.
He's had some drops.
And then all of a sudden he had a decent day. Then he had a better day. Then like the 3rd or 4th time I saw him, because I didn't see all the practices like you guys did. I only saw those last handful, and I thought he got better every day. Whereas Booty, I would go like 3 practices without even seeing him, and then he caught like 4 passes in a row.
Yeah. That's the only thing I would say about Booty is just that, and I rubber stamp everything Evan said. It's funny that Juju could never have a day like that. Like we've never seen Juju Smith-Schuster have.
No, he had that one.
day.
He had that one slant. And this is what you're doing. Like you're remembering like individual plays.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Mike.
Yeah.
I don't
like,
think there was ever anything
if you wanted,
to build off of.
If you wanted any chance of putting Juju on the roster, at least show me a day like that where it's like, wow, Juju's having a day for himself. Like I think he had a game kind of against Pittsburgh last year, and that was like, this is the only time we've ever seen this guy actually look like he can be out here. And
I think he's going to go. I think they're going to find a way to have him go. But if he stays, in my opinion, there's only money. It's only the only reason is money, and not money on the cap, money that they have to pay him.
I think the most encouraging thing to me about the receivers, you mentioned stacking days and improving, was Jalen Polk's improvement from the start of the spring to the end. Early on in the spring, during team drills, he really wasn't doing much. I said the practice box score, he just wasn't hitting anything in team drills, and then Monday minicamp has a decent day. Wednesday minicamp has an even better day. I thought makes
and in fairness, I did not see the Monday.
Yeah,
so
it makes probably the catch of minicamp on the final play of minicamp on the throw from Drake May. Those things are encouraging, especially for a guy that's a rookie 2nd round pick that you're hoping is going to do big things in the league. To see him ascend and get better and have that arrow continue to point upward was encouraging.
Baker's injury, chance that he starts on PUP training camp?
I wouldn't think so.
I wouldn't
he's
go
been
that
around.
far yet, but it does stink.
Yeah.
Like I think it's more than anything. I'm not trying to alarm any bells right now with it, but it does stink that we didn't get to see more of him.
I mean,
100%.
I mean, if he starts on PUP, he falls behind. If he falls behind, how quickly can he catch up?
If it's a leg injury, those like. Yeah, I don't have any idea what it is.
We don't know what it is, but purely speculative. It seems like it would probably be one of those soft tissues.
Soft tissues. So that would worry me.
Pull the
like
groin, pull the hamstring.
He can warm up, but he's not going to participate in competitive.
And then he falls behind, and then does he get a chance to catch up, or does he end up on the practice squad? Or
Right.
He's probably not going to end up on the practice squad.
No, he'll make the team, or be on. He'll be controlled somehow.
But we're still looking at what, 6 weeks or so.
Yeah, about 5, 6 weeks.
So that's a lot of time. He should be able, if it is soft tissue, that should be enough time for him to recover. But like the whole PUP thing in training camp is predicated on, and it's going to change now with Mayo, who knows? But my guess is there's going to be similarities with the conditioning run. And can you get yourself physically prepared to start practice?
Yeah.
A soft tissue injury is very difficult to pass any kind of conditioning run. I don't care how easy it is. So that would be a concern. But he should have enough time. He didn't really do much. I know the last 2 times that I saw, and there were practices in between.
Right?
So
he
didn't really do much.
I think him and Thornton, who also missed the last practice, are the 2 people I'll be looking at right away, right out of camp. Are they there? Are they participating? That's
and unless he has a significant injury, I don't see any way he starts on PUP because I think his urgency will be too great.
Yeah, it was just really. I said it was encouraging to watch Jalen Polk's end of minicamp. Javon Baker's start of the spring was really encouraging, where he was one of the few guys that just moved differently.
I would agree with that. I saw more from Baker than
super. You could see the twitch and the explosiveness in his movements that the other guys in the room don't necessarily have. I mean, Pop has it, but he's much smaller, obviously, so it's not quite the same skill set. And just you hope that he can be back for camp.
855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket Hotline. Colin's in Greenwich. What's up, Colin?
Oh, it's Kalen.
Sorry.
I had a
really
question maybe
screen.
for Evan. I was thinking with Alex Van Pelt coming in and shaking up the offense, do you think we'll possibly see some new formations? Do you think maybe we'll see any empty formations too where they might utilize the tight ends, or do you think that the perceived weakness of the offensive line that may be too risky?
Well, they're a pretty big empty team last year. I mean, Bill O'Brien loves empty, so they ran a decent amount of empty last year. But actually, I've talked to people about this in the past, talked to Scar about it in the past. You would think that empty would put a lot of stress on the offensive line because there's no running back in the backfield to help out with the protection. But he actually thought it was sort of the opposite. I was pretty surprised because most of empty is designed to get the ball out so quickly that it's not really, you're not sitting there and empty with the ball for 3.5 seconds, like waiting for something to develop all the way down the field. It's more of like a quick game look that you're getting into. The one formation thing I would say is a little bit different about the Van Pelt offense and what they've done in the past is they will be a little bit more condensed, I think. I don't think they're going to be as wide at times. And then also they ran a lot of 13, 3 tight ends. Which the Patriots did a little bit last year too, but they ran a lot of 3 tight end in Cleveland over the last couple of years, and we might see a decent amount of that.
Yeah. The other part of the empty thing that Charlie used to talk about this, Charlie Weiss, is just that it also forces the other team to defend it.
Right.
So you can sit there and say, well, you have less pass protection, but we have more guys that are prepared. It's not a back leaking out of the backfield that a linebacker could be lined up in the A gap and be covering him. So now you're spread out. A lot of times when you spread out, you have, like 4 receivers and maybe a tight end as opposed to running backs who aren't necessarily going to stretch the defense. So that requires coverage and takes away from potential rushers. Now sometimes
less guys in the box.
Yeah, sometimes teams just load up and say we're going to get there faster than you can get it out.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. But
be interesting if
there are 2 ways of looking at
little
that.
Henry, Hooper, and Baker, like seeing Bell.
Bell.
All 3 of those guys out of once. That'd be pretty interesting.
John writes in, wondering what you've seen out of Kyle Duggar at minicamp. Did they move him back closer to the ball like we all want them to do? Also, side note, I love Pam, I feel she's misunderstood.
No.
She was treated bad
like,
by Roy, and it made me want better for her, which was Jim. Sad scene when they kissed on poker night and Jim left crying. I'm all in my feels right now.
Okay.
Pam.
Would agree to disagree.
When
on
did you guys
Pam.
talk about this? 'Cause I'm a
so
Pam,
couple
Pam
shows
hater
ago.
too.
Cool story,
Big
Hazel.
Evan. Big Evan thing.
Yeah.
Have you seen the
Apparently.
new commercial with the Office cast? And it's for I don't know if it's for it's for AT&T for
T-Mobile?
network. No, it's for AT&T network, I believe.
Oh.
Business network. You haven't seen they have the cast other than
Michael
the
Scott.
main Michael Scott. They're all on
Steve
it.
Carell.
You haven't seen it?
No.
I'm the only one that's seen this.
No,
It's like everywhere. Wow.
I don't have
What was
cable
it?
though.
Pam makes a brief cameo.
That's why we call him a boomer for watching
Oh,
commercials.
so
Is that
it's not
is that how
complaining
we do
about the
it?
5-out
It was on
offense,
TV
it's this-
56 last night.
No. Help me out. listeners.
WLBI.
Help me out. You've seen
it's
The
not
Office.
the
I
tra-
believe
this
you.
is the
Yeah.
boomer take.
I
not
think
the
they
traveling
weren't they
take.
talking about a reboot?
Of The Office.
Yeah, minus Steve Carell.
I don't know. I
No,
don't think
thanks.
that would work.
No.
Because they've all.
It's
no
a
offe-
remake in a different state about a newspaper
Got it.
company.
No offense, but they've all
Thanks, Maddie.
aged quite a bit.
Well, I was
since
just that's the reason I bring it
original
up
Office.
is
It's like-
Pam is in there for like a brief second, and you can tell
Mindy's looking
she's
good
not
lately.
looking
Yeah.
like the girl next door anymore.
Ozempic
you
will
know.
do that for you.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
She loves those.
Oh, my influencer sister went on an Ozempic rant this weekend. Father's Day saw her. She was
Sorry.
talking about how, I guess she said the weight comes back really fast.
Oh,
Like,
I'm
because
sure.
it resets your.
Well, you got to have discipline.
Well, it resets your like
It's a lifestyle.
calorie
Some
intake.
people
It's a lifestyle
So
don't.
if you were eating 700 calories a day, and that's what you're at on Ozempic, then you come
Well, your
back. You
body
gotta stay
adjusts.
at 700 calories a day,
I'm
or
sure,
else.
I mean, any of those like fad diets, right? That's true. Once you go off the diet, then you're going to put it all
Oh,
back
yeah.
So,
on.
so if you
You just
know
have to adopt the
improve
lifestyle.
on your nutrition and
Right.
your exercise
You're fine.
and lose weight, and then stop doing that, you might gain weight.
Well, if you stop taking the pill to make you
Yeah.
not hungry, you're going to be a lot more hungry
Exactly.
than what you're supposed
Just
to
like
eat.
if I'm working out like a maniac and stop doing that, but eat the same,
Yeah.
probably going to gain weight.
Well,
It's got to be a lifestyle
this-
change. You got to do it
yeah,
all.
Yeah.
You can't just like take a
Stab
magic
yourself.
pill.
The
Stab yourself
shortcuts
in
are
the
just
stomach.
temporary. You
Yeah.
have to. It's a lifestyle change. You
Yeah.
have to
Buy
do
in.
it all
Can't
the
be
time.
lazy.
And
Like-
I'd prefer
like me.
not to.
I'm lazy.
Yeah.
Guilty as
Hey,
charged.
you can choose
that
discipline.
at
You
a
can
younger
choose
age.
regret. Pick your adversity.
Oh, I've seen that meme.
Yeah.
I don't need either
You're,
one
you're
of
like the
those.
meme queen.
Choose your hard.
Yeah.
You know, you have
Choose
the two
your
pills.
hard, yeah.
Choose the pill.
I don't choose either
regret,
one. Discipline. I don't have any regret either, other than my life. But it's not about my condition. It's about my occupation.
Just my choices and my, general
Poor Beth.
time on the planet.
Just my life.
My life.
She's at home like,
No,
what do you mean?
His
said,
wife
I
and
said
kids are
my,
like, damn.
I said my occupation.
Oh, no, he would never do that.
What?
No, he thought he said wife.
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 Ray writes in,
Hope you're
I
seeing
just
her
saw the
more.
new Vibe short that was posted, and if it isn't a lead into a New Jersey announcement, then we can chalk that one up to a rare content Team L.
Oh.
I think it left more people confused than anything. What are we talking about
The media
I
day
think there
reel
was a
we
new
posted?
video.
We
Yeah.
I don't want to throw our fantastic social media team
Okay.
under the bus.
I haven't seen it.
I
so
will.
can't
What is
throw-
it?
I don't know. I just saw they released the video. I hadn't seen it yet.
I
though,
think it's
so.
just a
A new
video,
vibe?
a video from
It's
media day with
yeah,
the set, and it's
Oh.
just lights and quick
N-
cuts.
New
and
vibe, and I did get a few texts asking if they were missing something like a jersey change or something.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
That didn't exist.
Also, I hope someone finally rescued Matt out of the well. Fred, all that money in new equipment, and Matt opted for the recycled Campbell soup can for himself. You might want to follow some threads on that expense report because it ain't adding up. On to my
I just got to
actual.
press the right buttons.
There he is. Sounds good.
Where
too.
is he right
Yeah,
now?
Very crisp.
God,
On to my actual question. Do we have any major concerns with the running back situation? I keep hearing how AVP's offense depends on that zone running setup and how important running backs are to that system.
Yes.
Are there any
Yeah.
realistic running backs available if this is a concern? Understandably, this is a Zeke-like situation, but who is actually available that would fit?
Who's available?
I don't
Anyone?
know. I'd have to look.
Not
but
a lot
I think
right
we're all on record of saying it feels really light right now. You've got two NFL running backs, and assuming Ramondre comes back and is healthy, then I think you're okay. But I think it's asking a lot to think that they're going to get through the season with just Stevenson and Gibson carrying the bulk
And
of the
we've-
load.
I mean,
We've
we always
always
say,
been
well,
able
there's
to
no one
find-
available. There's always somebody that's
Yeah.
bad.
and
Especially
the
a running
Patriots
back.
have always been really good at just kind of finding those running backs out of the woodwork, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm more
it's
nervous.
like Jermichael Hasty. I mean, he gets a lot of action in camp.
Yeah.
He's probably got to be viewed as the favorite right now, but he's a little bit smaller guy. I don't want Zeke back. I mean, he was on the Cowboys, but somebody bigger like that, I think, that can take some of the load off of. Maybe it's Kevin Harris.
They're going to put Marcus Jones back there.
Yeah, play running back.
I have concerns about the whole running game that I'm trying not to get too carried away with until we see it in training camp, but I don't feel like they have the personnel to run outside zone as much as I think they want to, just on the line or in the running backs. Like you're going to have, and I know Nick Chubb's a big guy, but Nick Chubb is an explosive big guy.
Yeah.
And you're going to have Ramondre Stevenson, who's a 225-pound running back trying to get the corner on outside zone and then trying to one-cut it up through the middle of the field. And you're going to have Mike Onwenu, who's 340 pounds, and he's going to be asked to move laterally across the field and make a reach block on the line of scrimmage and overtake somebody. Like, I wonder how much of that they're actually going to be able to do once they get into the season. And if we get into the season, then all of a sudden they're running downhill at people again.
We get a lot of questions about
the
that,
exact
too.
question I put in the mailbag today. Exactly that question. Doesn't
Yeah.
seem like they had the personnel for wide zone, and I used
And
a lot of the.
And I answered, this isn't Evans' week.
Yeah.
Check
But
back.
I mean, I said the same thing you did. I mean, look at Michael Onwenu. I mean, they clearly made a commitment to him. They
Yeah.
knew what they were trying to run by the time they made that commitment to him. So, I mean, the way I kind of look at it is they want to try to do it, but like you said, I think they might end up being more gap-based, and they're gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, we've heard enough times from Van Pelt. We're going to put the scheme around on players. We're
Well,
not going
that's
to try
the
to
thing.
jam them into.
He said
We're
it
running
a
wide
million
zone.
times.
Yeah,
So
Right.
different ways.
And
too.
I know they want to move the pocket, and that's the big reason why you buy into that system is so that you can move the pocket. But they found some creative ways in Cleveland last year to move the pocket without running as much wide zone. You can run crack toss type plays, crack toss, and then you can bootleg off of crack toss. You can run.
Do you pin and pull on that?
Well, so they do run a lot of pin pull, but pin pull is the zone family's version of gap. Like it's the same play as outside zone.
Same father, if you will.
Well, you can run Statue of Liberty off it, too.
Sure.
It's the same concept more or less as outside zone. You just have obviously the tags of the pin pull. But I don't know. Maybe we're getting too caught up in all of this type of stuff, and it will work itself out. That's where I'm at with it right now. But if we get it, 6 weeks into training camp, and this looks like the Matt Patricia offense because they can't block outside zone, and that's what they keep
Do
trying.
you remember how many first and 10, Stevenson?
Yeah.
Loss of 1.
Yeah.
Second and 11. It was amazing.
Well, he gets hit
chaos.
before, behind the line, he's getting hit.
Yeah.
First contact.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And this defense is not going to let them have it easy in practice. I mean, Devon Godshaw, Dietrich Wise, and Christian Barmore are going to be like.
That's assuming Devon Godshaw makes it to practice.
We got to get him some money.
You're going to run outside zone at me. Good luck.
Yeah. Did we talk about that at all? Not the necessarily the fact that Godshaw was here but not practicing. That I know we did talk about, but that Mayo was asked specifically about that, and he went there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He went there and said, yeah, he's one of these guys that's looking to redo his contract.
Yeah.
He's not the only one.
Right.
This is if that wasn't proof that it's a different day.
Right.
Times have changed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dylan in Tampa Bay, all of this talk about how the NBA is played and officiated is exactly why I prefer NCAA over the NBA. It's 5-on-5 rather than the Tatum, Doncic on Harden one-on-one nonsense. Love college ball, actually draws up plays, and they are much better about playing with technique. Hope Paul can agree, as I know how much he enjoys March Madness.
You should all start a therapy group.
I love college basketball, but not for the reasons he does. It's not better basketball. It's not even close. It's not even comparable.
If you love laying bricks, then you can watch.
I love college basketball
that's what
because
it
of the
is.
passion and all of the stuff that goes along with it.
Not because of the skill.
But the skill level and the caliber of offense, like you're talking about the plays, it's not even close.
Again, going back to the NBA draft, the top 5 players are the only ones that count. That tells you the talent gap between the NBA
and this draft stinks.
Yeah,
by the
it
way,
does.
This is one of the worst drafts in a long time.
I feel like that every year, but because I don't know the Europeans that are going to be the ones that are get taken in the top 5.
No, this one doesn't have. This draft is. You listen to I don't do NBA drafts like the NFL drafts, but the NBA analysts that do.
We'll have to bring in Barth for that.
No, the NBA analysts that do our job for the NFL draft for the NBA are telling you that in a normal draft you would probably take the first 7 picks out of a normal draft. And this is where this NBA draft starts, with the 8th pick, because that's how bad the talent is.
All right, we're going to wrap it up in our temporary studio. We'll be here for the next few weeks. So Thursday, when you come to watch us. This is where we'll be. We'll see you then.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.
The world's original podcast.